Yep, that's right. Oops. If you see something, say something, because if you see something and you feel like you should say something, don't ever second guess yourself. Trust your intuition and say something. This is something I have learned. I've learned, but also in my profession, it's not really your privilege to decide if you're going to report something. You just have to tell somebody, because we all need to look out for each other. Because you know what? Life is hard, right? So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. Thanks, everybody who's here in a live chat. Thanks, everybody who's watching the replay. It's great to see y'all. Hey, Gregory, Double R, Utter, Edward. And I saw Jeannie. Jody is cool. Agape Love, Utter. You're all very special. If I'm not saying your name special, it's because you're all special. And if there's any new people, say hello, please. Hey, Arlene Wiley, welcome. Oh, I'm so glad that you made it this time. That's great. Let's see, let me go up just a little more. Melissa French, hey, how are you doing? And welcome. Robbie Jones, welcome. Nice to see ya. If I missed you, I'm very sorry. It's definitely not personal. Let's see. Melissa, Robbie, Murray. McJay, hey, welcome. How are you doing? And I love Double R says, I like my schedule revolves around this channel. That's awesome. Hi, Zyra. How are you doing? What a cool name. I like that name a lot. Nice. My son's middle initial is X. I like names that begin with X. It had to be X. So, all right. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is, and Riddler. Oh, hey, Riddler. What's up? How are you doing? Very nice to see you. Wendy Lewis, how's it going? Nice to see you too. Pretty Bird, RT. Hey, how's it going? Is that an old RT or a new RT? Do I know you, RT? Sunflower Soul 615. Welcome. How are you doing? Gosh, I feel like I must have been skipping by people. So, and also welcome to everybody who's watching the replay. All right, so we're going to be talking about tonight. Some of you may have watched or heard a few days ago, I was on the Drunk Turkey show. It was really fun. Don't know if a bunch of you were there. Thank you guys so much for being there. That was a good conversation. Even though, some guests the Drunk Turkey show had on prior to a few days ago. So I think they have like the before Goncalves and the after Goncalves era of time. They had been talking to that WSU Kim and Dave, and they were one of the original people to talk to both of those people. And let's just like boil this down, because I don't need to perpetuate their stories anymore, because that's all that they are, is stories. That, bunch of people knew about what happened, the horror that happened in the Idaho 4 tragedy hours prior to the 911 call being made. Well, technically that is true, apparently. Ooh, and we have so much to talk about tonight. I'm going to have to talk fast, yes. Dylan, we have some big things to talk about with Dylan. According to the PCA, we did know that Dylan Mortensen apparently saw Koberger. So, did she? Well, okay, so I'm getting into a theoretical question. The point is, the two people that I've been speaking to from the Sigma Chi fraternity, who were fraternity brothers of Ethan Chapin, were very close with him, also with Hunter Chapin, were very upset by people saying that. And people fail to understand the reason why is because, they love this guy. Literally, he's Hunter's triplet brother. And, I've shared with you my experience and tried to help my sorority. I'm still close with a lot of my sorority sisters. These are people you become very close with in life. And also just knowing that somebody that you care about who has suffered such a horrible, tragic fate shakes you to the core, right? And you probably feel like, God, I would do anything to have been able to prevent that from happening. I would do anything to have them back. So, hey, DC Primetime, how are you doing? So when these rumors started to, scurry about regarding, lots of people, or at least I get in trouble no matter how I say it. Is it a gaggle of people? Is it scores of people? Is it a Google of people? Is it a handful of people? Is it hundreds of people? I don't know, people. more than those who were, according to Chief James Fry, summoned to the residence just prior to the 911 call. And that is accurate. That did happen. And I disclosed who those people were months ago. I overstepped my bounds, I think, in saying so. So if you want to find out what I said, I'm not going to repeat it. It's in there somewhere. Get the transcript of the video and do Control F, find, pick a keyword, you'll find it. That's how I always find things. They felt like, my God, if all these people knew, certainly we would know. They estimate that they woke up between 10 and 10:30 based on what they needed to do that day academically. And Hunter was up even a little bit earlier because he had a couple study groups, and I don't remember what the details are, but he had some plans that day to do well in school, So if they were up at that hour and all of these people knew, and y'all know how far that Sigma Chi house is to 1122 King Road. It's not far at all. I wish I had that video up, man. Well, let me see if I can find it really quick. In case you don't know, they're like, there's no way, Kelly, we would have known. And the way that they explained it, I'm not just taking their word blindly. I've been doing this YouTube channel for 2 years too long to do that anymore. Well, I never did, but I am, any naivete that I had in me has been beaten out. It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. And from everything I know, I can't imagine anything else is the truth, right? So they felt strongly in speaking out against that particular point. Give me just one moment while I can't multitask. Idaho. Map to 122. This should do it. I don't know, something like that. I was helping with some students that I work with do finals the other day, and they were kind of loosey-goosey finals. I had the teacher's permission. I was trying to Google some things just to help them out. They needed a little boost. And I was having such a hard time like Googling the right words. And they're like, Miss Kelly, this is, what you have to Google. And they were laughing at me. They thought they were so smart. I said, good for you. I'd rather you have that skill than me. Because you're going to need it, young one. All right, here we go. That's weird. I'm sorry. And in this Google search, I just found some really super weird things. Anyway, here we go. I'll share it with you in just a minute. All right. Well, so this is kind of one view of, okay, no, this is good. Okay, found it on Reddit. All right. Okay, so let me share this with you, and then we will move on to the content at hand. Welcome to anybody who came in. Hello, Cheyenne. How are you doing? And that's the only one that I see up on the screen right now, but hello to anybody who just came in. Where are you from in the USA, Arlene? If you don't mind sharing. Dubs, are you causing problems again? Dubs, apparently, I heard, is running for political office. Please don't. No, do. I don't know. I'm torn on that one. Okay. So I know this isn't super big, and I can't really make it much bigger. I'll try to knock myself out of there. So here we just have a, not like that, though. Maybe like that. Okay. So here we just have a flat map. And so if you're looking at this map, you'll see the Sigma Chi house is in the upper, kind of move into the left-hand corner. I don't know if you can see my cursor circling around it right now. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Then you follow the yellow dots and you go down King Road and around this little, it's like a cul-de-sac we've heard it described as. And it ends right there. It's 1122 King Road. Now, it's said from people I've talked to that it is a 4-minute walk. That's pretty darn close. Now, here's a different view. Okay. Okay, so here's the Sekai house. Can we follow it? Is this interactive? No, it's not. Is it? Be interactive. It's not, though. So that's fine. So anyway, it's very close. And there's other views that we can look at just to see how very close it actually is. All speaking to the point that these two guys, who someday will have names, I was going to say hopefully soon, but I really don't know when that'll be, and Hunter Chapin, maintained there's no way they weren't going to know if all these people knew. So many of you do know that. Okay. Now, hey, honey bun, how are you doing? Welcome, sweetie. Nice to see you as always. And Lucy Gigi. And US Kiwi 1986, one of my favorite commenters. I don't see in live much. I'm so happy you're here. She always has great comments. You guys always have great comments. All of you. You're just always so very helpful. And Speculation Station, love the name. Joan Reagan. Hello, Joan. How are you doing? Welcome. Let's see, Riddler. Hey, thanks for becoming a member, Riddler. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Unseen Thinkers. Oh, that's cool too. Unseen Thinkers. I like that also. All right. Now, okay. So let's go with this next. So, gosh, I'm in a little bit of a point of indecision. Yeah, let's just take a look at this because I'm waiting for one more video to cook, and this will get everybody on the same page. I hope. Here we go. So Christy Goncalves apparently contacted the Drunk Turkey Show a few days ago, and I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure about it at first, and I was just on their channel the other day, and I talked to them, and I don't know why. I guess I just had a little bit of speculation station, haha, and she sent a video. I was really glad she did that because the last thing we need is rumors, conjecture, and like groundless speculation about this case. I think it's very disrespectful to the victims and the families. I think talking about issues that are legitimate, and this is just my opinion. You could say, well, it's your opinion. What do you think? You can tell everyone know what to do? No, but it's my channel and I can state my opinion on my channel. So here it is. I think to, talk about normal things like issues of justice, talking about the possibilities when we don't know all of the facts. I know it's human nature to speculate about, first of all, to be fascinated with true crime. Second of all, to speculate about the things you don't know about, particularly when there's this kind of tight gag order and no one is talking. That's normal stuff. But to start to introduce information into the picture that was not part of the reality of this tragedy, I just think is so disrespectful. There is enough drama. There is enough horror. There is enough, oh my God, in the reality to chew on. To try to make up more, I think, is self-indulgent and childish and irresponsible. If you want to know what I really think. So I am hoping that the Goncalveses speaking out about some things like Jack DeCour's timeline, some details with Dylan Mortensen. They verified their own personal timeline, which is exactly what I was saying here in this video. I'm going to play you just a little excerpt just so we know how it all went down. I'm hoping that that's going to squash some of the hurtful conjecture out there. Now, Daniel from the Drunk Turkey Show just said, I think it was an email that, or maybe said it on the show, I can't remember, that the Goncalves family had mentioned a few YouTube channels that he, had some kind of connection with. And they expressed their pissed offness at those channels, and I do not blame them. All right. This is Kelly from Watch the Obsession. Thanks for taking time to watch this video. Something I've learned about the true crime community, particularly since I started this channel about 2 years ago, is that the community as a whole, or certain sub-communities, prefer to indulge in outlandish conspiracy theory, and I'm kind of repeating myself, aren't I? Well, this is what I think. Sometimes baseless speculation, and I know many of you agree, and if you don't, that's okay. We can talk about it. And over adhering to the facts and using logic to work out the actual events and details of a case. And hey, like, I get that. And, I guess there is a time and place for that for sure. Yeah, absolutely there is. But we do have to ask ourselves, at what expense? There are so many things that can be questioned legitimately about this case and about this investigation. There are a ton of them. So while this channel will continue to question the aspects of the investigation and statements from officials that warrant questioning, I do have to set the facts straight when it comes to issues involving the victims' families and that may be hurtful to the victims' families. That I should have said when I have the knowledge that allows me to do so, because I certainly do not think I'm all knowing. Very limited knowledge. But if I can speak up, I will. It's just like what we do here. So what we're going to be looking at is the timeline from after when the tragic murders happened up until the 911 call. And, we're always looking at, because of my connection with the Sigma Chi fraternity guys who are friends with Ethan Chapin and are close with the Chapin family, how far in advance of that 911 call did some students, get called to the house or learn a little bit about what happened. And then there's this issue of when did the Goncalves family find out? So all of your answers are right here. I think that the facts speak for themselves. And as far as I'm concerned, this issue is put to bed. Actually, it really never was an issue in my mind in the first place, but that doesn't mean it's not an issue in your mind. And also, this little part of the timeline is connected to what the two Sigma Chi fraternity members, who are Ethan Chapin's close friends, have been telling us all along about the actual events and details of that horrible morning that they say was just like any other day until it wasn't. And, if we want to get to the bottom of things, if we want to discover the truth and untangle all of the mess that exists out there, we need to stick with the truth. So that's what we're doing. Here we go. Now, let me be clear, in nowhere ever, it does not exist where anyone in the Goncalves family said that they were notified about their daughter's death in the morning hours of that day, November 13th. So I just want to clarify, some YouTube channel just made that up, totally out of thin air, made that up. Like, what? 2022. That was never said by any member of the Goncalves family. Never. When you watch scores of hours of commentary or interviews on a specific... And by the way, I made this video a couple days before the Goncalveses were on the Drunk Turkey show. So I'm glad that what they said certainly supported this, but this is what, kind of I think, rational, sober-minded people who have really dived into this case already knew. Specific topic, especially a true crime case, it's very upsetting, and people's emotions get the best of them and become stronger than their thinking minds. You're certainly going to find someone saying something that was said out of emotion, or that was, just said a little inaccurately because they're freaking crying and devastated because they just lost somebody that they love to a murder. So there is this one young woman who is friends with Kelly Goncalves, who says that she tried to text her in the morning of November 13th and she didn't get back to her. But, they're college students. And remember, the 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m. When I was in college, man, I easily could have woken up at 1 and been, eating my eggs and pancakes and calling that the morning. So I just don't feel as though we can give that a whole lot of weight. What I do feel that we can give a lot of weight to is the Goncalves family's statements, the words that come directly from their mouths. Now, we do know that Steve Goncalves has a way of embellishing things. I've always said this about him ever since he's been talking about the case and we've been talking about him, that he has a very unique way of saying things. Like, nobody phrases things or explains things exactly like Steve Goncalves. He is his own G-man, that's for sure. Aside from those Steve Goncalves quirks that make him him, the Goncalves family has been and will continue to be very accurate in what they are saying because after all, I'm sure for every member of that family, these moments in that day when they learned that Kelly's life had been taken when she was 21 years old and was looking forward to a bright future and they loved her so dearly. Those memories, those moments are etched indelibly in their minds. This is actually a psychological fact based in research and data. And they're not likely to get the details wrong. Details like when did you receive the call where you first learned that your daughter was murdered? I'm telling you, Christine Gonzalez is not going to get that wrong.
The phone call the Goncalves family received on November 13th is one they'll never forget.
We were, it was Sunday around
We were watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We were watching
our
football.
son was here. Everybody was home, except for she was down at her home
We
in LA.
gather on
And
Sunday.
my niece called me, and she was freaking out. And she said, Christy, have you talked to Kaylee? And I said, yesterday, like last night. And she said, something bad happened. Something bad happened. And she was just bawling. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she said, I think Kaylee's dead.
My gosh, every time I hear one of these family members speak, I just try to imagine what they must be feeling if I were them, if I were in that position. And I know I can't even go there, but my God, what they must have been going through. So we heard this right from Christy Gonzalez's mouth. Everyone in the family agrees. They got the call around 1:30ish, and you heard what the call said. But you know what? This is a clip, by the way, from Chronicles of Olivia, an excellent interview that she did with the Gonzalez family. All you need to keep doing is watching about 2 more minutes of this excellent interview and really interesting conversation to gather a lot of details that a lot of people have been questioning and speculating wildly about, but the details are all right here. Now, guys, I want to emphasize this point because what was happening on some of the channels that were claiming that this part of the timeline, like the family notification timeline, the 911 timeline, it's not the crime timeline. I get it, but from my perspective in talking to the Kai guys, it's important. I already explained why to Hunter Chapin and to the Chapin family, it's important. So that's where I'm at. They would play like a little bit, maybe part of what I just played, and then they would change the facts. And if you had just listened 90 more seconds, it would be clear that the story they're pushing out is bullshit. And the Goncalves family actually just finished their sentence and clarity was granted. So I just want to point that out. And, I just want to point that out. People that did that should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves. Do you agree? Let me know if you agree. Little G ducks in a row. They explain everything. Please just listen.
And I said, what do you mean? And she
All
said,
our stomachs just dropped.
She said there was somebody just called me and they live down there. She said there was a party last night and somebody went in and shot the party up and Kaylee was shot. I was like, what? And I just threw my phone. I started screaming. I started telling everybody to call Olivia and to get all her roommates on the phone. And I started calling Maddie, and Maddie wouldn't answer, I said, no, this can't be, because Maddie would have called me. If Kaylee was shot last night at a party, Maddie or Jack would have called me. Like, no, and I called Kaylee and went straight to voicemail. I was calling Maddie, I was calling Jack, it was ringing. I turned on the TV and I saw it said 1122 Road.
I've been aware by some of my channel viewers, somebody apparently is making a big deal about this, saying that any news about this tragedy wasn't even on the news, like the television news, until around 5 p.m. that evening. Well, I have an idea that Mrs. Goncalves didn't turn on her clicker like the TV, you know, but I think she got on the computer and went on social media. And Steve's going to clear that up in just a second because he says, it's happening in real time. And I think that's a detail. It's pretty easy to get confused. Did you get on your computer and see it on social media, or did you turn on the clicker and see it on the TV? I think it was social media.
Like his car was in the driveway, Maddie's car was in the driveway, but it was saying an unconscious person. And we're saying, okay, maybe this isn't like, maybe something happened. So Steve starts calling the police. Steve and our son started calling the hospital, and he started calling the PD and saying, my name is Goncalves, and we heard that my daughter Kaylee Goncalves was killed in an accident. And they said, we can't give you any more information. We'll call you back. Well, we just, next thing you know, some more phones started ringing. Our daughters that came running down, 16 and 17 years old, came and said, Mom, somebody just called me and said the Kaylee's dead. And we're like, what? Like, who was it? She's like, I don't know. It's somebody that they're there and Kaylee's dead. And we were like, oh my God, like this can't be, It's just very, very, very dramatic.
These protocols have to be updated.
Yeah.
These protocols of somebody showing up at your door 10 hours later is ridiculous.
Because we had hours of panic before the sheriff
It was
department.
terrible.
It was about 4:30.
So you guys, they never called you. You guys found this out from family members that were in the area, and you guys didn't get notified. You actually reached out to them, and you guys still didn't get notified.
He wound up calling them twice.
And I get it.
I
Their
said,
protocols are all about, maybe they'll commit suicide or something, but they have to be updated because
The carrier.
social media moves so fast, so quick. That's
It's not
why we are
fair.
using social media.
Oh, wait, Steve, what was that? Okay, so I'll get to my perspective, Robbie Jones. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here for that, though. So now this was just reiterating that timeline they just stated. It's
And the
sort of moot
sheriff
at this
showed up
point.
about 3 hours later. When
Okay.
you saw the sheriff, and what happened, because we found out by people calling us. And the sheriff showed up about 3 hours later. When you saw,
So that obviously corroborates the timeline they just told. So that's where we're at. So, okay. Let's see. Let me just take that down for 1 minute. Hey, Sandy, Colorado. How are you doing? I don't know if I said hello yet. And Mouthpiece of the Southeast, how are you doing? Oh gosh, this is super interesting. I hadn't even considered this, so I got to read this comment. So the Mouthpiece of the Southeast, guys have great names. I think the defense has reached out to certain channels and offered them money or something to get them to push a pro Kohlberger narrative. It almost feels like it, doesn't it? I really had never thought of it. Man, that would be super freaking unethical. Holy cow. But you never know. I think it's also possible that, some channels get people to pretend that they are people other than who they are, to push some narrative for different reasons than defending themselves in a murder case. But I don't know. That's just me speculating. Hey, Positive Vibes, how are you doing? Hey, Protected, how are you doing? You think so too about the defense? That's really interesting. Hey, Let It With Love, how are you doing? You guys are all such smart cookies. Okay, I got you, Double R. So Double R was saying, he's asking, are the Goncalves supposed to be following gag order, or is what they're doing okay? I don't know how to take it because what they say it's conflicted with itself, essentially. Okay, so this is a really good question. So I wasn't clear on that either because they were silent all of a sudden after they had been talking so frequently and so much and about holy cow, things I couldn't believe. And I am not faulting them for that. I cannot even imagine their suffering. And I just feel like whatever they have to do to get through this is fine. Now, with it, and that statement is untouched. In my mind, I have this caveat or this other voice, that's saying, but what about the other victims' families? Is this what they want? Do they want for, one of the victims' families to be speaking out like this? But you know what? There's 4 families involved, and there's no way to, they've all had different and super intense experiences that have changed their minds, that have changed them as a family, as people. there's no way that they're all going to come to like, let's put out this united message the whole time, because if they were able to do that, that would make them like robotic or computerized, and that would be weird. And we don't want them to not go through whatever they have to go through right now, as terrible as it is, because that will bring you to an early death for sure. So I digress a bit, but Double R, because they were talking a lot and then they became quiet, and I thought I talked about it with some of you, I think, and thought about it. Well, they're not really under, the penalty of the court. It's like they're the victim's families. The court can't penalize them for anything. So how could they be under a gag order other than to be asked as a courtesy, right? Kind of like the Sig Chi guys said, it's the gentleman's agreement is the term that they used when we were first talking about it. And I just keep bringing it back because it's stuck in my mind, because I thought it was the way they explained it to me made it really clear. I was trying to bring that clarity to you guys the best I could. So I was talking to a couple people I know who are involved in law, one related to me, one who I call the channel legal consultant, who's just one of my best friends who I've known he and his wife. I went to law school with them, but they made it all the way through. I decided to become a yoga teacher. And they said that they are not under the gag order. That makes no sense. They would not be under the gag order. I mean, like, certain witnesses are going to be under a gag order, but you can't put, I think this is right. And if I'm wrong, I don't know. I believe this is what they said. Jeannie, do you know this? You can't put witnesses who are this doesn't make, I want to say favorable to the state's case under a gag order. I'm not sure, guys. But anyway, obviously they can speak, so they're doing it. I just made word salad out of nothing there. And so, yeah, I see that Unseen Thinker says probably different interviews, Double R. And that's true. But, even Christine Gonzalez herself says, listen, I said this in one interview. I just got confused. So if we just think about what happens to your brain, I'm not going to go really deep into this. I'm not going to go into a psychobabble. But, one thing that I said, and these two things sound conflicting, but they're not. And I just want to explain really deeply is when something that intense happens to you, these memories are etched indelibly in your brain. And that is true. They actually, that's true. Let's just go there. However, the certain parts of that extremely intense situation that were so traumatic, your parasympathetic nervous system actually started to kick in survival mechanisms. Your brain will be like, you know what, we can't be doing that all the time. Like, we can't be doing that. That's not like, you can't live your day-to-day life reliving that trauma. It literally is going to kill you, So I think that's what's happening with them. I don't think that they're being dishonest. I don't think that they're trying to be shifty. I don't think that they're trying to be deceptive at all. I truly do not. I mean, they're clearly a tight family. They loved Kaylee to pieces. And, and also we have to remember there have been, the brother's been pretty quiet, but there's been Olivia and Christy and Steve. There's been, 3 people speaking out frequently and vocally on Kaylee's behalf and about Kaylee's story and about the case in general. So I don't know if that answers your question, Double R, but I get what you're saying. And Jeannie says, the judge doesn't have purview over the victims. They are victims here. They may not ever be witnesses. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you for clarifying that. Jeannie's like, Jeannie is my clarity. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. Sophie, and hey, Sophie Maxwell, how are you? Says you cannot get a fair trial under today's climate, in my opinion. Now, do you mean just specifically for this case because of everything that's been said, or just in general? Because I could see certainly somebody making a case for both. Okay, Agape Love says the judge says that the Goncalveses are not under gaggy order. Oh, and then Jeannie says they'd already done that interview, the Olivia interview, the Chronicles of Olivia, not Olivia, her sister, before the gag order. But then they're, kind of speaking out now with the, Drunk Turkey show. And Christy Gonzalez put that little video out just so people knew it was truly her, which I was glad she did. Let's see. All right, so now let's switch gears and talk about everyone is being attacked. Blame. Oh yeah. You're so funny. USA Kiwi 1960. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Gonçalves have 2 new baby granddaughters now. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Her poor sister, when she was doing all those interviews in the early on stages, she was very pregnant. And I mean, people are going so far as I was in some chats on different channels, not here, where people, were saying, oh, does she look however many months pregnant to you in that interview? Like, oh, I don't even think she was really pregnant. What are you people talking about? First of all, if you're a woman, you know that all women carry their pregnancy weight differently. You can't, and you never want to, try to guess. Are you pregnant? No. Are you 8 months pregnant? No, I'm 2 months pregnant. I mean, it's just a ridiculous thing. The conspiracy theorizing has simply gone too far. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But I mean, I'm firm in that. Hey, Joan, how are you doing? Great to see you, sweetheart. Oh, I know. Seriously, DC. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, I know. USA Kiwi, right? Okay. All right. Let me bring this other really quick video in here. Now there is a little just victim remembering intro. I already did one of those, I think. But we're going to do it again because the most important thing is to remember the victims. And I think the worst part of all of this crazy YouTube stuff going on, I'm trying to be, whatever, is that the memories of the victims and what really should be the issues at hand here. And so many people have lost sight of that. And that's why I stepped away from this case completely for a while. I just couldn't stomach it. It's gross. It happens with some true crime cases. And I guess everybody has their own personal limits that they can handle. But, mine was met, I guess. Oh, wait, hold on. I have to go through YouTube Studio because it's not a public video. Here we go. I wonder. Let's see. So did you guys all see, did you watch the Drunk Turkey show when he spoke about what the Goncalves family supposedly said? Now, I also do want to say, and by the way, Daniel from the Drunk Turkey show, and I think the other guys, Jaime and Big Blue, are going to be on here on Thursday. I'm so excited to have them on. I really like, interacting with them and, and that's all that. And I can also understand where Daniel is coming from when he was telling the story of what the Goncalves has said. A lot of criticism, I'm going to be honest, including some from within my mind, but it didn't go any further, that some of the things he was saying were not consistent. But then I immediately thought of this, and he said something like this. It's how I feel when I'm talking about what I've discussed with the Sigma Chi guys. I'm constantly, the conversation we are having, and sometimes they're on text, but that's ever it. There's been, it's not like they're, really in chat or something like that, to kind of inform me to do say something, don't say something, but not even always. So I just have to use my best judgment as I go along, and people think of really smart questions, and people also think of really freaking silly, absurd things and put them out there too. So you just kind of have to think, oh, should I disclose this? Would they want me to disclose this? Is this in the best interest of the victims or the victims' families? Or if I disclose this, am I being part of the problem? So although I did notice, along with some other people, some inconsistencies that Daniel, kind of being the mouthpiece, was putting out himself, I relate to that personally. So I guess I'm asking y'all, maybe we should cut him a break. I don't know. I think we should on that. Now there's one thing I don't think we should cut him a break on but we'll get back to that later. Maybe I'll save it for Thursday. So, based on the Goncalves family's recent statements through contacting the Drunk Turkey Show and Daniel, I would like to talk about some things, how their story and another victim's family's story and timeline aligns exactly with what the two Sigma Chi fraternity brothers of Ethan Chapin and University of Idaho students have been saying since I started talking to them about Sigma. I just want to be clear on Scene Thinkers. I'm so glad that you brought that up and that you guys had a miscommunication. The official stance of this channel and of myself is that we do not and never have supported WSU's Kim's story. I found something out actually just recently. I think I told you about it, right, Jeannie? And I don't know if I should just talk about that? I don't know, but nope.
6 months ago.
I've told you this before, and I will tell you again. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. And if I think I could be wrong or I don't know if I'm right, I let you know. But I also let you know what I feel confident about, what I know firsthand, and what I've heard secondhand. I've supported these guys, story and timeline all along, and I still do. And now there is even more support for that. I'm going to talk about those details in a moment, but I think one of the most important things that is coming out of all of this is that the false, possibly manufactured, but definitely BS or bullshit narratives that have come out about this crime, or I should rather say that people have been trying to push out falsely about this crime, hopefully now will be squashed. Now, many people have said to me when they're kind of torn maybe between believing the Sig Kai guys and say WSU Kim or Dave, oh, more than one thing can be true at once. Well, yeah, it can, but at some point, we have to narrow reality down to reality. And at some point, we need to say, all things cannot be true at once. Now, if we just want to be friendly among the YouTube community and say, hey, man, like many things can be true all at once, because I want to watch your channel, this channel, that's okay. That's fine. But on this channel, we are looking for justice for the victims, peace for the families, and clarity on all issues in relationship dynamics, because that's my jam. Also, the legal system and justice in general. So that's where we are at. Point number one that the Goncalves family made through the Drunk Turkey Show was to clarify Jack DeCour's timeline. Now, y'all know Jack DeCour was Kelly Goncalves' ex-boyfriend. Poor guy. And, initially on this channel, like many other channels, we certainly speculated about the possibility of his guilt. And I have apologized to him on this channel and in a number of ways many times, and I will do that again. So Jack DeCour, we apologize for ever speculating that you could have been guilty of this horrible crime. It's now so obvious you're a really good person and are not guilty of this crime. So I apologize on behalf of my channel. So Jack DeCour's timeline went like this. He woke up. I'm not clear exactly on the time. I think he said around 11:30, and I'm going to go find that out right now. When I was making this, I just spaced it, and I'm still spacing it. I apologize. I'm not clear on the time. I'll get some clarification on that. It's close to noon, and it would have to be close to noon. There was some, I think he said police action outside, so he went out there. There's a buzz going on. He talked to a police officer, introduced himself, said that he was Kelly Goncalves' ex-boyfriend, and they said, we need to take you down to the police station immediately. He surrendered his phone. They had his phone for a few days. And when the Goncalves family initially called Jack after they heard about this god-awful tragedy and what happened to their daughter around 1 or 1:30 p.m. on Sunday, November 13th, as they stated on the documentary Chronicles of Olivia, which I have believed their word for word all along, regardless of when football games are on and regardless of time zones. I know I keep repeating that, but you guys, I can't even, just from the stance of a channel creator who is not buying into all of that, I can't even, it's like the pushback and the anger and the hate and the threats that I've only ever experienced from the Watts case. And I know some other creators feel that way. It's freaking crazy. It's out of control. It's elevated. It's not sane. It's not healthy. It's not productive to anybody. And I am really surprised at how many people jumped on the crazy train. So, hey, if you're on the crazy train and you want to get off, we are sending rescue cars alongside the train. You're just going to have to get brave and take a leap, but one of us is going to catch you. Come on over. It's okay. Christine Goncalves is speaking her truth. And then, the police showed up at their house a few hours later around 4:30, and total devastation for them. And I'm so sorry for that family. And I celebrate Kelly's memory, and her birthday was yesterday, as many of you know. So when they initially called him right after learning about this and tried to call Maddie, and of course she didn't answer, he was already being questioned at that time. This makes perfect sense. Of course, they're going to bring in the forthcoming boyfriend as soon as they learn who he is. We all know from a statistical standpoint who the most likely perpetrator of a homicide of a young female is, the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend, right? It all makes perfect sense. So this leads us to another question. Just like the two guys that I've been talking to from Sigma Chi, and we're grouping Hunter Chapin, Ethan's triplet brother, in with that, just like they have maintained, they do not believe that several people knew or a gaggle of people. Thank you so much for the super chat, Sandy, Colorado. And you read my mind because I'm actually in production of a video about that right now. I'll tell you exactly what I think, and I'll try to bring up the picture so we can all look at it together. Thank you. Great question. Awesome question. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. People knew, or scores of people knew, or a 40 to 60 group Snapchatters knew hours before the 911 call was made. Jack Decor alike is in that group. He feels if anybody knew hours before the 911 call was made, certainly he would have heard as well. He was a neighbor to 1122 King Road, and he saw Kelly and Maddie that night, and he and Kelly were still very close and had been together for years. Just like Hunter Chapin had been with Ethan since they were in utero, and they have a bond that most of us can't even imagine. And he feels certain if a bunch of people knew well before the 911 call was made, he would have known. Again, the Sig Chi guys feel the same way. And I agree with them. You know why? Because it makes sense. And it makes sense in the context of what we know to be true and what we know to not be true having to do with this case. So another thing that we have to talk about is Dylan Mortenson's timeline and her activities from 4 a.m. until 12 noon, that 8-hour gap. We learned some new information about that as well, and we're going to be talking about
What the heck? Where's it? Oh, I know it's the
here.
other channel. Okay, hold it.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Welcome to What's the Obsession, covering the truth of the Idaho 4 case. Boom, bang, truth. People are freaking crazy. Catharoo. I'm crackly. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the audio bad? Oh, okay, weird. Okay, hold it. Let's see if give me a sec here. All good now? Thank you for letting me know, though. You're a bit crackly. You're so funny. You guys are so sweet. I like that you guys all hopped on the crazy train thing. Let's see. Can you just let me know how the audio is now? Sounds better. Okay, yeah. You know what happened was I was pulling up another video and they were kind of playing at once. So hopefully, oh, good. I'm glad it sounds better. Welcome, Catherine. How are you doing? And love it's for letter word. I don't think I said welcome to you also. And Lisa R. And yeah, okay, cool. And anybody else who came in that I just didn't happen to see yet or see when I could say something. All right. So the question was, let me go back and bring up that question. It was a good one. And again, I'm making a video on this because I have noticed that a lot of people have been talking about this in I feel like a logical way, not a like WSU Kim way. And I do thank her for, taking her time to come into chat one night when I was going to be talking about her and then coming up on panel. She is a skilled talker. She talks. And so she seems like a nice person. I don't know what's up with that. I am a behavioral therapist. I do have speculations. I said speculations purposely because somebody is I know I'll get a comment, an email or something. You can't diagnose people. I don't even want to. I get a nasty gram. I get them all the time. All right. This is so interesting. So I just happened to know that there was one picture I wasn't able to find anywhere else, and somebody told me it was on Unique Van Life. It was a channel I was unfamiliar with, I'm going to be honest, But here, let me share with you. I just went happy to promote other channels. I just went to their channel to look for what we're going to be talking about. And I saw this. This is what we were just talking about. So, hey, Unique Van Life, we're kind of all on the same page. So it looks like it's a sort of maybe newer channel. So maybe check it out. If you like it, subscribe. Hook Unique Van Life. I'm sorry. Look, I typed in unusual van life and I think it's Unique Van Life. Oh, this just happens. My live streams are too late and I get unusual van life. Oh man, that's embarrassing. I'm going to take that out. Silly brain. Okay. So they're talking about the gag order. Did Mrs. Goncalves violate the gag order? A couple parts to that. Well, apparently there's a lot to say about that. Are we being attacked? And they're making it look like UFOs. Oh Lord, I just hope not. Oh, okay. So, here we go. This is the one. There was one picture in here that I simply had not seen, so I was really stoked about that. Okay. Hold it. Let me pause this for a second and repose the question. So Sandy, Colorado says, what do you think the investigators were taking pictures of at the top of the stairs? My thoughts, possibly bloody hazmat suits. Wait, what do you think the investigators were taking pictures of at the top of the stairs? My thoughts, bloody hazmat suits? Who's bloody hazmat suits? I think I'm confused, Sandy. And is this the area that you're speaking about? Take this down so we can see. It's by where the Good Life wall hanging is. I can't think what to call that. Here we go. So a few different times, different investigators, a few different times a day. I was really like scoping these out the other day and looking at the instruments they're using. We see investigators really, it looks like combing over very thoroughly this area right here. But then I was wondering, am I just thinking that because they're doing this in front of a window where I'm seeing it happen? But really, this happened in every inch of the apartment. What do you guys think about that? So glad that you asked that question. I've been thinking about this and looking at it a lot lately. And is this the scene that you met, Sandy? Hey, Mary Sit, how are you doing? Oh, awesome. Mary Sit, bringing it home. This is something I need. Thank you very much. I'll read that in just one second, Mary. Oh, wait, I want to take it down so we can see this, but let me start it. Okay, let's just take a look at that one more time. Well, let me just read this from Mary so I don't forget first. So Mary says, a neighbor called Dakota something, heard nothing the night before of the homicides. I get it, like the 12th going to the 13th. Next day, he left for work at 11:45 a.m. and it was quiet, nothing out of place. This was on Fox 10 News. I knew I had heard one or two accounts like that. I wonder if it's one that I'd heard. Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate that. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to plate it in gold. And no, thank you. That's awesome. Seriously, because it's just one more piece of evidence that stands against people who are, I just, guys, I can't imagine why you just, I don't know. I don't know. People are crazy. Let's see. Gregory says something let's see. What did Riddler ask? Gregory, let's see. Riddler. Oh, yeah. Riddler says, would have been nice if they told us the order of the stabbings. I'll but am positive that I know the order of the stabbings. And well, actually, thanks a little bit to Gregory. Yeah, thanks definitely to Gregory and Tom N, who were in chat in a live stream. I don't remember how it all came about, but the three of us put our heads together, and which caused me to research something, which is the order that the victims perished is the order that the initials appear on the surviving roommates' tattoos. And that is also, sorry, I can't double test. I can't multitask. I really can't. Okay, surviving in their tattoos I need. And that also happens to be the order that the names of the victims appear in the charges as they are listed in any official court document or as they are officially read by the judge. So, and I did do a video on this, and I will put a link. I talked to several attorneys about this in different states because I was like, no way. We just like, no way. Nobody knows that. There's no way. And they all agreed that is, except for X kind of circumstances, when there are, different times of death. And I don't know what that would be like if it would, I don't want to think about these terrible things. But in this situation, they all agreed that was absolutely the case. So it's MKXE. So the order that they, now, okay, I think I just misspoke because I can't really say the order that they perished because this is so hard to talk about. This is like all hard to talk about today for some reason. We don't know exactly when they took their last breath, right? But the order, I guess it would be more accurate to say in which they were attacked. So we have Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I feel like the judge who, read the charges, Brian Koberger. Now I can't get their names right. Oh, was I not sharing that with you? I'm sorry. Let me share it with you now. Okay. Does that make sense? If anyone needs me to run over that again, I can. Or I can link you to the video too. Good call, Gregory. Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Yeah. Which guys make sense. All right. So there's so many things I could talk about. Yeah. Thank you, DC. Kelly's a diagnostic professional, but is not diagnosing anyone in this case. I love the disclaimer. I should run as a banner. Thank you. No, I am not. Yeah, because that could get me in big trouble. So that's what people, threaten to do. Hey, Mia. Aw, I tagged you on this. I'm so glad you're here. Everybody, Mia fighting justice for victims is here. Hey, Mia, what's going on? Do you want to come up and chat at all, or you just want to be in chat there? I'm really happy to see you. DC, you're on fire tonight. Kelly's exercising her constitutional right to present facts and open a discussion. Thank you, DC. You're super accurate. Oh my gosh. Who's going to debate with me? I don't know. Who wants to debate with me? You bring it. You're always looking for a debate. Come on up, Double R. Here, I will I'll put the link. I can take it. Oh my gosh, whatever. After covering the Watts case this long, I could take anyone. Right, Mia? Oh my God. Oh. Well, this is a very good statement. Thank you, the mouthpiece of the Southeast. Everything you hear is not meant to be passed on to others. You should be responsible and know how to filter fact from gossip. That is a wonderful statement. I love it. Thank you. Hey, Robert, how are you doing? Right. If nothing else, self-preservation demands calling 911 immediately. Okay, so let's move on to that. Thank you for nudging me. Let me just get down to the current time and comments. Hi, Aussie True Crime. How's it going? Great to see you. Welcome, my friend. Okay. From her kid. Wait, let's see. They admitted all on various YouTube sites. Mary, who are you talking to here when you're saying this? From her kid friends, from other streams, from social media. She has admitted it all on various YouTube sites. Are you talking about inconsistency in stories? Man. Oh. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Oh, I see. Oh, wow. Double R is coming up. Holy smokes. Look at that. I'll be right there. Double R. I'll be right there. I see you knocking on the back door. Okay, Double R, but we do have to move on to talk about, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, what Christy Gonzalez had to say about Dylan Mortensen's possible frozen shock phase, or maybe not so frozen, not so shocked. Well, I mean, I'm sure if she did see him, it was shocking, of course. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Jeannie. Oh, Mac J, if you don't know about Kim, listen, your life is all the better. Seriously, I would be happy to brief you sometime, but I'm not going to give it any airtime. Not you, just because she's got too much. Katharoo says, a question. The DoorDash with Xana's name on it was left at the door, looking like not received, or could it be seen from the window? Well, we weren't able to see the actual delivery on the inside of the house through the window. Is that what you mean? And I can show you that picture too. I'm like live on demand. Tell me what you want to see. I'll grab it. All right. Okay, there's a couple pictures of it actually, I think. Let's see here. Oops. Double R, I'm on my new expensive computer now because of you, because you were telling me that my live stream kept doing whatever because of CPUs. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to fix that on this computer. So thank you. I think. Okay. Let me just, there's two different pictures. Oh, wait, you know what? I should hold it. Terrible multitasker. Who here is a good multitasker? Is this a Mars versus a Venus Mars thing? I can't even think right now. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Is that one of those things? Because I cannot multitask ever at any time of day, no matter what the multiple tasks are. I can't do it. Okay. Guess that's all we're going to get, though. Okay. You know, and there was also a bunch of, talk for a little while. There's all of these kind of like fad topics of the moment, topics of the day, topics of the hour, topics of the channel regarding this case and the identity or even the gender of the DoorDash driver was one of those topics for a while. And it's just kind of been put to rest, I guess. I don't know. Weird. Okay. I don't know. Okay, here. Let me show this to you guys, and I'm also going to bring up Double R. All right. Stop screen, start screen. Okay, so this is just what I clicked on. There's a picture of Xana next to it, obviously. Okay, so now here's, oh, I don't like her next to him. Yeah, gross. I'm sorry. I can't. And then that's a look through the same window. And apparently, I think people were saying that like it looks like a partially drinking, like it does look like a shake container to me. It was from DoorDash. I don't know how they determined that, honestly, but yeah. I can't do it. I don't like her next to him. All right, let me bring up Double R too here. So, all right, bringing up Double R. Everybody, welcome. Whoops. dude who loves me but always wants to fight me. Double R.
How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm kind of hungry.
I am too.
I'm about to go to freaking Taco Bell, but anyway, you were wanting to know about what you're talking about.
I wasn't wanting to know about what you said. You want to come and argue with me. What do you want to argue about?
Does anyone want to debate? I didn't say I did.
Okay. Well, here you are. So one thing we do have to discuss is this. So, okay, here, hold it. I have to get my notes. Just 1 minute. Yeah, there's no receipts, WSU Kim. People have said that they have vetted her, and you know what? I'm not even going to touch that. Like, I shared what my vetting process is. I don't know if a vetting process has been shared for Dave or Kim. It's just been said, oh, I was able to find him on social media and stuff, and that's cool. But you can also make up fake social media accounts, and it depends on how extravagant you want to get. And it also depends on what's in it for a party who has a dog in the fight. For example, earlier when you guys brought up that maybe it was the defense who is going to different channels or various social media outlets and feeding them stories, maybe for a buck or two. Or if you have in the past and think you could do it again, manufacture a story and put it out on your YouTube channel, and all of a sudden you bump up 20,000 subscribers and $5,000 a month. You're like, man, maybe I'm going to try that, like with every true crime, right? And that's disgusting. But so I think that, yeah, I kind of went off there, but I smell a rat. What do you think about WSU Kim and whatnot?
Oh boy, is that the person you're live that everyone else is?
Yeah, and everyone's like,
regretting it.
She wasn't, she wasn't a featured guest. She was in chat. I was talking about her, and I had some things to say, and I had some questions to ask. You know what? And all y'all that were like, get her off. I asked my questions. I got my answers. I was able to verify the lie, and then I was able to talk about it and move on. That was my point. You got to give me a little bit of credit here. I usually know what I'm doing, but I cannot multitask.
Right. I did lose focus, and I was like, "Who is this girl again?" Like I totally was out of. So I was in the chat. To be honest with you, I did not hear a word she said for like the last 35.
Oh no, I saw your comments. I didn't
They weren't
blame
that
you,
rude.
but I really had to. I mean, I'd been hearing her on their channels, and I kept thinking, I wish I could ask her this, because if I could ask her this series of questions, I could pin her in a corner. And although I couldn't prove her 100% that she's not being truthful, I could make a very strong logical argument, and that's what I did.
What was it again that you called her out on? I don't even remember. Like I said, I wasn't even paying attention. I was just.
I don't want, like, I don't mean to be, but I don't want to give her any more of my channel space or anything. I think that she's gotten too much from too many people. What's that?
You just asked me about her. So what are you trying to say? We're wasting time on her again, or what?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm being like
So you might as well just tell me what she said again, because honestly, I
honestly don't remember. She said so many different things. I can't even keep it straight.
It was her hypotheses, and then she made it like it was the word of God. Like it actually happened.
Exactly.
Hey, because of this happened, that's why that happened. I mean, everybody does that. I get irritated with this stuff. I'm sure everybody does, but they're literally reaching for answers. Just gotta wait it out. You gotta wait it out.
Right. Exactly. And it's exactly. It's like, people are so hungry in this kind of like information void with this gag order. And I get that. But it's a double R, Catherine. It's double R is up here. So all right, let me get my notes really quickly, because let me put a different picture up, because we're gonna be talking about actually no, I'm gonna do.
Hey, while you're doing that, where's my book at?
You know what? I haven't sent it, honestly. I sent like over half of them, and then some of them I didn't send because things just got crazy. I have your address and everything. I will send it on Monday. And if you want to shoot me an email to remind me, I'm very sorry about that. I owe you the book. I got it.
Apology, but I still want to read it.
Yeah, no, I got it. I totally my intention to send it to you. Work got freaking insane, and some other things are going on too. So it's totally my fault.
Is it autographed by that lady?
Yep. It is.
By the
Kathleen
person
Houston.
who presented her.
That's right.
Did you
Oh,
did you
no.
autograph it
Oh,
too?
no, my autograph is worthless.
No, to me it's not.
Aw, thank you. Sure, I can
I'm in the midst of a celebrity.
send.
I don't know what to do, but go ahead. I'm joking. I want my book.
Okay, yeah, I promise I'll send it. I promise I will. Let's see. What am I? Oh, I know what I'm. Jeez. Ooh, my brain does really get squishy at some point. So, has anyone in chat heard what it is the Goncalves has said about Dylan Mortensen and what happened shortly after the 4 a.m. hour? Because if y'all heard it, we'll just start talking about it. But if you hadn't all heard it, then I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly what was said.
Which is crazy.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah. What? Yeah. You go ahead and say it because.
No, you can go ahead and explain it. Go different perspective.
What I heard was between the hours of 4:20 and 4:25. Why they made the
That's right.
what was it? What do they call it? Why they made the paper?
Estimated time of death in the
Yeah.
PCA.
4:25 because she called everybody in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
From 4:20 to 4:25, got no responses, and then
That's right.
we don't know the rest of it. So.
Yep. So, yep, that's exactly it. And that's all that it is. So, but that is a big deal considering what it says about what she said in the PCA. So, for those of you who didn't catch that, yeah. So, according to Christy Goncalves, Dylan, the reason why the estimated time of death in the PCA was noted as 4:20 to 4:25. And I got so much crap for saying that the other day. Like, oh, there's no piece of information. We have an estimated time of death. I'm like, well, according to legal documents, yes, we do.
Do you know how many times she called each person?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I have no idea. Yeah, I agree with you,
wait, like the
Elizabeth.
next
And
Batman
welcome.
movie or whatever they're going to remake, right? You just have to wait.
Yeah, right.
It's not a
Yeah,
movie. This is real life.
No, it'll all be revealed in time. But let me just explain again. If I think there's a couple people that aren't totally clear. So in the PCA,
that's what I was looking for.
This makes simple sense and answers my question about the wording in the PCA. Yeah, totally. So, and I'll bring up the PCA too. So, so in the PCA, it says the estimated time of death was between 4:20 and 4:25, and I'll get the exact wording in a moment. I have that right at my fingertips. So Christy Goncalves just said for the first time, which was weird because at first she said, well, it doesn't matter. She said that Dylan Mortensen called all of the roommates according to her phone records, which is referenced in the PCA, right? Led with love. So is that what you're talking about? That she called all of the roommates between 4:20 and 4:25, which ostensibly would be after she saw the guy with the mask and the bushy eyebrows and was in a frozen shock phase. Now, I went to the trouble of making an entire video about Dylan Mortensen's frozen shock phase from a psychological perspective and the reactions that our body goes into involuntarily when we are faced with, what we consider to be life-threatening fear or trauma, and our brain does not make that decision. It's our involuntary systems that do that, and it's like flop, fight, feign. There's 5 different Fs. And, I explained how it's possible that she could have gone into any of those 5 states. Like, feign is to fake dead, or no, flop is to fake dead, is to play dead. They call it, fight, obviously. And there's, so anyway, I made cases for all this, explained it in detail because I was feeling a little bad for her. But if she was making calls to all of the roommates a few minutes after that happened, I don't know. I would have to have somebody else make a counter case from a, psychological, physiological, nervous system perspective. I would not be able to understand that she was in something like a frozen shock phase, which to me that's really fishy. It's not good. Not good for the state's case. What do you think, Double R?
Yes.
He talked.
I was listening. I was trying not to be.
Oh, do you have any thoughts on that? Or no, you just think what I just said. Of course. You
I
agree,
agree.
of course.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't hear everything. I'm sorry. I don't want you to
Mhm.
repeat it either. You're on live. So, yes, I
Gotcha.
agree. Thank you.
Cool. um, let's see. All I have to say is that it feels.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do I comment when I'm on live? Because it only shows me that, but I cannot type.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
weird. Are you on YouTube or you're in StreamYard, right?
StreamYard, yeah.
I don't know why that is. You can also go to the YouTube component. Just don't have the volume on though, because then we'll echo. You
Wow.
know.
All right. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm good.
Cool.
I'm just missing everything, and I'm not allowed to comment anything. I guess. I don't know, but go ahead.
Oh,
Come on.
well, you can just comment with your voice.
I just.
That's the whole point.
Oh yeah, that's right. Am I live?
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. Is this on?
Oh my God, you're crazy.
I'm already listening. Oh, so that's cool.
Let's see. I'm trying to see.
Hear that?
That's so funny, Elizabeth. Earlier, I'm sorry, some other people brought that up. I hadn't even thought of that. I can't believe I didn't even think about that. I mean, I think it's possible. I honestly think it's more possible that she's somebody like that Megan Cole person from the Kylie Rodney case, just somebody who has a psychological or something that needs to be fulfilled. Or I think it's even possible that she could be channel manufactured. I think all of those are possibilities personally. And, I wouldn't have said any of those things like a week ago, but I'm personally over it. And I am exercising my constitutional right to be over it. Right, DC? So, hey, Mia. Let's see. The rest of us only see highlights. Okay.
Hey, Kelly.
Led with love. Thanks for becoming a member. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend. And hey, Sis Vicious, it's wonderful to see you here. Sis, have you been watching this at all, or do I have to just repeat what I just said for the VIP? Because I want to get your opinion on it. Lucas Boyd says, and welcome, Lucas. If DM could be alert enough to call everyone in the house, then how can she justify not calling 911 exactly or something outside the home? You know what? You really brought home the point more so than what I was, I was getting kind of to the surface level there saying, I don't think you could be in a frozen shock phase. But what the real point is exactly what Luke is saying here. If she was able to call everybody in the house and, she saw this intruder that she, according to what she told authorities, was really frightened of, and he looked threatening. Why the hell didn't she call 911? It makes it a bigger question than ever, really. The last sentence in this comment here is maybe that is why she called her mom the next morning then. I mean, maybe. Oh my God, if I something like that happened and I didn't call 911, my mom would be like, Kelly! My mom's the last person I called, she'd be pissed. Oh man. Yeah, really good point. Thank you, Lucas.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of what Dylan had actually done? If you put in a situation like that, and at some point you're going to have to hear, because if she called everybody, I mean, the things that she had heard, I myself have not witnessed anything or heard anything like that, but you can just imagine and put your mind to it a little bit, maybe kind of act like a witness, or maybe a witness by ear.
Uh-huh.
You would obviously, if she was worried, she would, call everybody in the house, right? What would
Mm-hmm.
you hearing that would make her say, wonder why, wonder what's going on?
Well, according to the PCA, there's a very specific list of things that she heard. She heard, the dog scratching. She thought Kaylee saying someone's here. She thought she heard Xana crying. She thought she then heard a male's voice saying, it's okay, I'm going to help you. you know, she heard a lot. She heard a thud. She, you know, according to the PCA, she heard a lot of things. But the question, I guess, for me is, my God, I really hope that PCA is accurate, because if it's not, we have a really big problem with persecution. But the other question is, how much of what is known or what evidence existed at the time the PCA was written or exists now is in that PCA? Because remember, as Anaphylaxis and Jeannie and I like to say, Jeannie always reminds me, the sole purpose of the PCA is to get to get a warrant from the judge to apprehend the suspect, to get them off the streets so other people are not harmed, and so the process of justice can begin. You know, I was on another channel recently, and I said something like that, and the person said, no, 90% of the evidence is in the PCA. Bullshit. That's not true. That's not true ever. That's certainly not true in a complex quadruple homicide. Like, now, what do you say about that, Anaphylaxis, or anybody else that would, or you, what do you think about that, Double R?
Yes. There's something. I wasn't trying to get all crazy here on it. Something else I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the evidence that led them to, you know, the arrest of BK.
Mm-hmm.
They made an announcement that they were going to throw it out of court, which, you know, the way that they got the evidence, you know, the fingerprint on the sheath or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they got the warrant in the first place. That was the leading, you know, that led them to him, right? But they let him go out of state, go all the way across the country. I just don't understand that. They let a guy that, you know, just
Well, they didn't. They
lives.
didn't connect the fingerprint to him until he was out in Pennsylvania, when they went through the family's trash in Pennsylvania and got the DNA from the dad
His name
on
was already,
December 27th, and then he was arrested on my birthday, as everyone knows.
but the way it had, I don't know. See, what was weird is they didn't have anything that came back on a sheath, but they decided to send it away. And that just didn't make sense. And then they had him on, or, you know, this is limited stuff. I mean, it's just like I said before, you just wait, I guess. But I mean, the way that they received it, enough evidence to arrest him. Now they're thrown out of court. You know, they have this many terabytes and blah blah blah.
Wait, what's being thrown out of court? I don't understand.
They're removing the evidence from the sheath or whatever. They don't even need it or whatever. They announced that a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Or whatever. So they're just throwing it out. So the defense doesn't even have an argument about that. But that's the way that they arrested him.
Well,
so that was not illegal, but I guess it wasn't. I don't even know how to.
Well, there were two simultaneous things going on. There was the collection of the garbage, looking for DNA or other evidence at the family's house, and simultaneously there was another warrant being executed out in Washington. So right. I think that okay, go ahead. I think there was simultaneous.
Go ahead. I'm saying that was illegal in itself to go through somebody's trash without a warrant, because they didn't have a warrant at that time. So the way in which they received the warrant was, I guess, the way that they got the genealogy.
You can go through the trash legally is considered abandoned property. Legally, if you throw something in the trash, you're abandoning it. It's no longer yours. Therefore, it's essentially public property.
But in the state of Pennsylvania, because I'm in Ohio, so I believe it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you sure? It's all
absolutely. I lived in absolutely. I lived in Philadelphia for 21 years, and
great, go Eagles.
Heard plenty. Go Eagles, babe. Lived too close to the stadium for a while. That's where my condo was. Oh God, crazy down there.
It is crazy.
Eagles fans are nuts. Phillies fans are nuts. Oh my God.
Used to go to training camp all the time every year in Bethlehem until they moved it. But anyway.
Cool.
Back to that. Yep.
Jeannie Ramsey says they are not removing. This is what I thought I had heard too, Jeannie. But I didn't want to speak to it because I thought I definitely miss things sometimes, because sometimes I'm just like, Jesus, is that real, or did one of those channels make that up? They are not removing the sheath. That's speculation on other news talking head channels. No one knows what will be admitted. I do believe that to be true, Double R. But I do think that you're correct in that a lot of channels are saying that, and I'm talking mainstream media channels. So.
True. Yeah, it was actually like it wasn't News Nation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing right off the top of my head, it was CBS or something.
I don't know. I think it was probably on a lot of channels. I don't know.
Yeah. I try to watch all those. I definitely don't watch Turkey, but I guess maybe a little bit of truth and transparency gets a little
Uh-huh.
a lot of silence.
Uh-huh.
That Jules, my girlfriend follows that.
Oh
Jules,
yeah, I just found her. I like her. She is sensible and logical. I like that.
he was like, I'm on nobody's team, with Drunk Turkey.
Yeah.
I called him out for getting an email from Goncalves' mom, like
Mm-hmm.
told me off the record that this happened or whatever. He's like, she said, I don't want to hear what she told you because I'm not playing that game. And that's what she said tonight. I thought,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
yeah. But I'm about to go to Taco Bell, so I might bounce back here in a few.
Oh, awesome. Well, enjoy Taco Bell.
Hey,
Yep.
it's
Thank
okay.
you for coming up. I appreciate it. I'll send you your book on Monday.
You'll forget.
I won't forget.
Give me the money.
You can have whatever you want.
Who won that? Jody is cool.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. I forgot. Oh, I like Grizzly too. Yeah.
Hey, did Jody is cool win the $100 that one night or what? Who was it?
Joan did. Joan,
Joan
did
Brad?
you get my text message? Yes, and she never got back to me on that. Did you
Well,
mean
give
to
it to
do
me.
that,
I'll
Joan?
take that to the book.
Well, I'll be doing that again. But
Sure you will.
I thought she was. It seemed like she was not getting back to me on purpose. But right now, she just made a comment in chat. So there, Joan, you can't run. You
She's
can't
alive.
hide. I'm going to corner you with that $100 bill.
All right. Yeah, here, I'll keep watching it. All right. Later.
Okay, sounds good. Take care. Let's see. Yeah, right. So the prosecution is under a gag order. When did that break to say that they were excluding the sheath? Yeah, you're so sharp, so quickly, Janie. That's right. Yeah, when you think that through. I mean, I do believe that to be true. I had heard that that as well, and I honestly did not look further into it. I did not think further about it. I thought that it sounded ridiculous, but who knows? Because there's a lot of ridiculous things that are actually going on in this case or being said about this case. At this point, we really don't know one from the other all too much. But it doesn't sound exactly what Jeannie just said. I mean, now I have my answer. Well, okay, so let's see. DDH. I'm so sorry. I have no. Oh, Ohio girl. How are you? Welcome, by the way. So what she has to say to that is it was said in reaction by the prosecution to a defense request for the genealogical evidence and lab personal records, etc. I don't know. Yeah, I'll send you the link for sure, sis. I'd love you to come up. Here comes my sis fish. Is vicious. There you go, sweetheart. Yeah, let's look into that though. I can't. Do you know how have you, I mean, if we could find that defense response, I'm sorry, the prosecution response where people believe that's what's being said, I would love to read it. We could read it together. We could get an actual legal review. And so Liz Ann says, not the sheath, the genealogical testing. All right, so there's a whole. I didn't know if I wanted to get this deep into it. Let's see what Sis Vicious wants to talk about it. But I actually there's a big backstory on this. It might be too late for me to get into it though, because my brain gets like mushy. Thank you, I appreciate that so much, Ohio girl. Thank you. So, Mouthpiece of the Southeast seems to believe that the legal jargon was misinterpreted, and that happens often. Yep. Did I give you the link, sweetheart? Here, copy link. One of you guys is texting me. There is the link. All right, let me just give me one. Wait. Oh, I just have a weird picture up there. What was this? Oh, yeah, this is.
Actually, if we can just go to this.
Oh, you know what? Now that we heard that about Dylan, this could be a little interesting. Just give me a second. I've got to go get a drink of water or something. I'm super thirsty. I will be right back. Oops, let me share this first.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Did the roommate make the call on the roommate's phone, or can you verify it was another individual?
Actually, if we can just go to this one first. And so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call to be, it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Scotty Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates, can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
Somebody asked if that was the killer.
No, that's correct.
There's someone there other than the two roommates when the police responded.
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but you used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? Everybody made the call.
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, that's true.
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take two more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time. That's why we're.
I don't even know that information at this time. Well, understandable. Everybody, please welcome my girl, Sis Vicious. Hey, sweetie, what's up?
Hey, Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am good. It's so good to talk to you.
You too. You too. I was thinking about you today. I tagged you. I miss you. I was like, I wish my girl would come up and talk and hear.
I know.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
been like kind of silent on things, but I've made some notes. I keep meaning to email you like some of my thoughts because I know we always kind of vibe on what we're thinking on certain things, and I just keep forgetting. So
I'm dying to hear what you're thinking. Tell about anything. Go for it.
Well, okay. So one thing I think for sure is, if you remember, you and I talked about this a long time ago in the beginning, way before Brian was even arrested, but we talked about how crazy it was that instantly there were so many federal agents on site.
Yes.
And I think finally, what was there, like 70 something?
Yes.
So
there was 26 initially.
Initially,
like,
right away.
26.
And then there ended up being like 50,
Mm-hmm.
60, and then like 70 something reported at the end. And then the state police, local police. And so I
Yeah.
think there is evidence. Every case I've ever seen where there's multi agencies involved, there's always jurisdictional disputes. So, in my
Okay.
opinion, I think that, we were looking at what the local police was reporting they collected as evidence. We might not see what
Mm.
the FBI collected, what the state police collected, because
That's
there's
very
always
interesting.
jurisdictional disputes over who has
Oh.
what.
Wait, and you
And
know what? And what else is interesting is I think during the course of that discussion, my thought was I remember hearing a couple, former FBI agents being interviewed, and they said that they had the full capacity of the FBI mobile
task
laboratory right
force.
there on the scene. So
Mhm.
if what you're saying is true, they could have the best and the bulk of evidence that we would not even know
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I do
Ooh,
think
that's
that.
a good one.
And I think it's possible. Here's the thing too, like the clip that you just played, they said that
Mhm.
they're not even releasing the call, who called. I think it's silly and naive to think that everything that they have was in the arrest affidavit. I don't believe
Mhm.
that. I don't subscribe to that at all. And again,
No, no.
all these other agencies involved, there's a chain of command of releasing that information. For whatever reason, so many, I
Mhm.
think even 25 being involved right off the bat is a lot.
Yeah, even with the mobile crime lab there,
Even
it's
with the
still a
mobile
lot.
crime lab,
Yeah.
because if the local police wasn't capable, their first next step in chain of custody would typically be the state police. If it's out of the scope of the state police's ability, then the FBI would be brought in. But because it was so instant, you have all these different people collecting evidence. There's drones, there's cameras, there's social media. So I think in the pictures that people are seeing and analyzing, well, there's none of this, there's none of that. We don't know that,
Right.
and we don't know
Right.
what was removed prior to, in an
Mhm.
effort to protect possibly what they had. If there
That's
were
right.
footprints in front of the door, they could have
Mhm.
cleaned that up, not wanting it's being broadcast across the world, across every single news station, social media. They could have gotten what they needed and removed it so as to not alert the public
Mhm.
and the perpetrator that they did in fact have that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's
So it
right.
could have. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying I think
No.
there's more possibilities than what we know. And
That's
I
really
kind of.
good thing. That's really good thinking because I think in this like absence of like knowing so many things, there's kind of two extremes. There's this crazy, in my opinion, baseless theorizing and speculation, which I think it's okay to do that like off the bat, but then you've got to really like you got to ground it in reality and data and like evidence somehow, right? Because that's what it is. And then there's also this kind of where, I think people are just thinking in a very flat way on the other side of that. So
Well,
that's really interesting.
I think that happens in a lot of ways, right? Like I think that
Mhm.
people want a linear solution to like a
Mhm.
very complex quadratic equation,
Yes.
or a very like multilateral issue, right? It doesn't fit. They want.
She's bringing back the calculus.
No, but it's
It's
so
ridiculous.
true, because there's not ever going to be a one size solution. I mean, there's four
Right.
victims. The victimology is different. You know,
Absolutely.
the mindset in the attack to each victim is going to be different if it's a single perpetrator, right?
That's
Unless
right.
you know what I'm saying. The circumstances are going to be different for each one of those victims in the commission of the crime. So
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a one size fits all. And then as far
No,
as
because there's going to be
the
four victimological profiles. I mean, that's like insane. Like in such a short period of time with the same weapon with this, that's like it's really truly, yeah.
and as far as the roommates go too,
Mm.
one thing I think that people want a singular reason. Why didn't this call happen till 11? And I think
Mhm.
there's many reasons why that could be. I think I don't discount that initially. And I don't know. This is all speculation, obviously, but I
Mhm.
think that the frozen shock phase could have happened.
Mhm.
But I don't
Mhm.
think in a small community with a small police department that crimes like this don't happen. I mean, anybody, we all read the news. We all see, the wrongfully accused, the wrong person convicted. I don't think it goes that far out of reach to think that maybe they could have just been scared and contacting other people trying to figure out what to do because they were afraid of
Yeah.
being accused of the crime. And if they were in a frozen shock phase or whatever, they could have hyperventilated, passed out, fallen asleep, especially if they were up all night. You know, maybe they did fall asleep for 3, 4, 5 hours and then woke up like, oh my God, what do I do? Start making calls,
Yeah.
reaching out on Snapchat, calling friends, asking family what to do. And I don't remember when
Well,
we
were you
paused. I
here
think
when we
it
were
was the
talking about the
affidavit said
timing of the calls, though?
yes. And I think
Okay,
that
the
could be why. I don't
420 to
think it's
425. Okay.
yeah, and so people you know like reaching out beforehand or whatever like before the police are called, that's not something that I would do, but at my big age I know better than that. But if I think back to being 20, 21, 23 as a scared kid,
Sure.
if there was any type of conflict or anything amongst the roommates, being afraid of being blamed for it, I don't think that's that far out of reach that you would maybe reach out. And I think that those answers will be provided in the trial, obviously. And again,
Yes,
there's no
yes.
statement even from Bethany in the affidavit. So to say that they have all the evidence, everything laid out in the probable cause, I just don't subscribe to that.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely not. And anaphylaxis in here is, she's a recently retired former investigator, and she says she's handwritten hundreds of PCAs, which I believe are I mean, that's just true. And she's just like, not all the evidence is in them,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, everybody that I've, yeah,
There's
that's
no
just
way it
not
could be.
correct.
And here's the thing too, the
No.
prosecutor, they could know.
No, but I mean, you would know, like the people that I talked to is like, there is nobody who would, for a case like this, the legal strategy is not to put all of your cards out on the table face up. That's freaking asinine. Anybody who
Yeah.
would do that wouldn't pass like the bar exam, or they wouldn't be able to get through the police academy, or whatever the case may be. It's just
And
craziness.
bullying, yes, it is. We are all seeking justice through the legal system, but between the
Mm-hmm.
prosecution and the defense, in its simplest terms, it's a game of losing or winning. And the
Right.
prosecution wants to win. They want someone to pay for this crime. They want the right person. And in a crime this high profile like this, I think that they're going to make sure that they have their ducks in a row. Do I think that the local police was capable of solving
Mm-hmm.
this crime that immediately? Personally, no, I don't. I mean,
No,
look how
definitely not.
look at the coroner flapping her gums all loosey goosey. I mean, come on.
Oh my
And
God.
so the federal agency, I think that
Oh.
it's possible the prosecution, the state police, the departments, I think there could have been conversations as far as what evidence was collected. The affidavit was written in enough to get the judge to sign off on it, get the arrest
That's right.
warrant. But I think the bulk of the more ironclad evidence
Mm-hmm.
could have been collected by either the FBI, that mobile task force they had, the state police, and then passed down to the local police. But was all of that prepared and released jurisdictionally by the time that the arrest was being made? Maybe not.
Right.
So that could be why not a lot of it was included. They could not want to include a lot of it. The FBI never tells you anything until they're
Yeah.
ready to take it to a grand jury or just arrest your ass. So I don't think it's that
Just
far out
arrest
of
your
reach
ass
that we
or
don't
grand
know what
jury.
they have.
Either one
They
or
didn't
anything in
say that. They
between.
didn't say never, ever. They don't. And that's why they have such a high conviction rate, because they keep it
Right.
sealed. And so again, I don't think it's that far out of
Sure.
reach with again, when they had this arrest affidavit, and especially if they were seeking to keep a gag order, why would you lay everything out in the probable cause affidavit for not only the defense but everyone else in the public, and then issue a gag order? Well, what's the point
Right.
in not letting people talk about it if you're going to lay every card that you have face up? It doesn't make
That's
sense.
right.
There's no
And I
point.
mean, and to put everything in the PCA would make everything in the pretrial process, pretrial discovery and discovery completely moot. We wouldn't need it. You'd have it all.
Exactly.
It's like, why go through all this bullshit if you've just got all the evidence right here? I mean, it's just, it makes no sense. It's nonsensical.
Right, exactly. And so again, to try and protect everything, to the best of the ability to ensure fair trial, to ensure, justice is served, nothing's released until the trial is actually happening, not only to protect the victims, the case, but also the rights of the, accused. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure for all of us, if he is in fact guilty, the last thing we want is some, half-wit exoneration because of a technicality, or someone saying something they shouldn't, or issuing a mistrial. I mean, can you imagine anything worse if in fact he did commit this crime and then you just have to cut him loose because people can't shut up? And come on, that'd be terrible.
Right.
Terrible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to remember that, I think that um, I think to get and tell me is this right, Anna, if you're still there, or if anyone that would know. I think in order to get an arrest warrant, isn't the standard is the reasonable person standard. What in the probable cause affidavit, there is presented evidence sufficient that a reasonable person would believe that it's possible that the named suspect committed the crime. I mean, it's a very low standard. It's not like beyond a reasonable doubt or something like that, It's just, it's the first step in the process.
Yeah, overall, the standard is pretty low. It's like, I get pulled over, my car smells like pot, that I refuse, they get a warrant. It's like, well, her car smells like pot. The judge signs off on the warrant to
Right.
search my vehicle, and then they find out it's like a, Bob Ross air freshener hanging around my window mirror. You know what I
Bob
mean?
Ross
It's just
air
like,
You're so
the
funny.
standard is so low. All they have to have
Right.
is like a reason enough to.
Probable. Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
probable.
Anna Fraxis.
Probable.
Yes. Yes.
Probable.
Thank you very much. I knew I had something missing. Thank you, Anna. I knew I had something missing there. Probable, like in the name, probable cause affidavit.
Probable.
Thank you, dear.
Not for sure, not convincing evidence,
Yes.
not,
Probable.
more than likely. It's probable.
A little more than possible.
A little more than
Or
possible.
something, that is not tangible more than possible. Oh, you know what? DC
Yeah.
Primetime is backstage. I'm going to welcome her up as well.
Awesome.
Let's see what DC has to
Good
say.
to talk to you
Everybody,
guys.
welcome DC. Hey, DC Primetime, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Is
I'm
your
just
husband
loving
snoring today?
No, he's not. I got him some of those nasal strips.
I'm just kidding.
Did I
Came to
share
my mind. That was so cute.
on the internet? Really? Okay. Oops.
Hey, Dee.
How's it going, girl?
It's good. I'm just loving the discussion right now. Thank you so much to this guest who is so informed on the legal processes.
I know, sis is great. I always love it when I always like hearing. I love having conversations with you. Yes, very knowledgeable.
It's nice. It's refreshing, right?
Yes, it is.
In this day and age when we're just going off of like our feelings and stuff, it's nice to have somebody who's just like, no, this is the way it works, and these are the standards that we're adhering to. So yeah. Right on.
Exactly.
Right on,
Now,
sis.
the mouthpiece of the Southeast says most of it in the PCA. That's what the basis of these conversations came from, not news reports. Yes, that's accurate. I'm not sure if you're responding to something specific, but yeah, we're talking about the PCA. Yep. They have lungs and Jeep. What? Wait, what? I didn't get that. Let's see. Ann Taylor has motion to lower bail bond. Oh, that's never going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. She can motion all she wants. Motion away, Annie. I mean, she's supposedly, a good attorney for a public defender, but this is.
And we want that, right? We want.
Yeah. Absolutely. We want to have a fair trial that has a good record. Yeah, exactly. We want to. Yeah. We don't want this to be a mistrial. Yeah, exactly.
It has to be above board. The rights of the accused need to be preserved in order for justice to prevail. We can't just, have a plea bargain and accept that without seeing the facts of the case. So I hope that everybody sees this through to answer all the questions that may proceed for years to come. We don't know. We've seen that before, right, Kelly?
Yes. We won't name any cases or anything like that. It's in the name of the channel. Yeah, no, we don't want that to happen, but we want, it's always good when a trial can play out and it's like you just said, above water, and the record is solid and it's preserved, and there's no reason for taking it any further. Then we don't have to waste our taxpayer dollars, and the bitch can rot in jail.
Kelly, I wanted to ask you something.
or
because I think there's
not, if they're
so much
not
talk-
guilty, depending on what justice determines is the proper remedy, is what I meant to say.
There's so much talk. I wanted to ask you about this on the DRUGS conversation that I think is just hogwash.
Yeah, I agree.
But I wanted to hear what you thought, and I have kind of an opinion on it. Remember, I said before that I think there are possibly many reasons or possibilities for the delay in the phone call, but I wanted to ask you if you thought there was any smidge of relevance to that at all, or even what the roommates could have been doing the night before, because we have heard conflicting statements from where Xana and Ethan were, the party, they were home watching the movie, all those things. And so I wanted to get your
Oh, I
opinion.
know exactly
To
where
tell
they
you what
were.
I thought.
Yeah. So
Well,
I mean,
but here,
go
okay,
ahead.
real quick though, I'm so sorry. I remember, I think it was someone on Xana's side or Ethan, like, oh, they were just home in an interview, and I wish I could remember
No,
it. It's
it
on my
was her
phone, so everything's
dad.
familiar. It was her dad. Yes, it was Xana's dad.
Yeah.
It said,
Well,
oh,
the
she was
guys
just
that I
home.
speak to from Sekai, like they can account for them basically until they left, which was
It was
taking after me. I
relatively
can't remember
early,
exactly
right?
what they said.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't as early as people are saying, and I
I
mean,
think it's interesting to figure out where
yeah.
her dad thought that she was home with her
No.
boyfriend all night, or if they were at a party. Is there a reason why maybe she said that to him, or?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly the case. I think that's exactly what happened. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say or where to start with that. First of all, okay. So I guess since you brought this up, I would like to take the opportunity to say this. So this is information that's based on the two guys that I always mention that I've been talking to for 6 months from Sekai, one more than the other. They are very knowledgeable of everything Xana and Ethan that evening. And I've talked about various parts of it over a couple different live streams. And I don't know. I feel like I'm like wondering how much I should say, because what has happened since then, and I'm not saying it has to do with what I said, or maybe it did, and I started the whole freaking mess, is that people have connected Xana to Emma, like tightly connected Xana to Emma Bailey, and some heavy duty, illicit, illegal, and really kind of, in my opinion, immoral activity. I mean, like to an extreme. And so what I have been told, and I again believe this, and I've been told some details of the story. First of all, whatever Xana was doing like a year ago or 2 years ago, what these guys have said, and I've heard this corroborated by a number of different sources, is that when she started dating Ethan and when Ethan started dating her, it was just one of those love stories. They both changed each other's lives, and they were just all about each other. And, their like bad habits came to center, and, like one of those things like, and I believe that because it seems like that, you know what I mean? Also, she didn't, with what she did have going for her and her personality and what she was involved in, and she was heavily involved in certain aspects of her story. So she just didn't seem like she was like circling the drain on hard drugs,
Yeah, I think that's such a goofy thing. Like, look at them. And I'm not saying looks can't be deceiving, but I mean, come on. I think the
No,
conversation
that's
of like
right.
hard drugs or like
Yeah.
H or any of those things, it's just so silly to me. I think if anything, and this is going back to why I think there could have been a delay. I've done more experimenting than I would like to admit on this channel right now.
Me
But
too.
and my
We admitted on this
I
channel
don't think
freely.
it's outside the realms of possibility. Like hallucinogen, for example. Okay, we all know what I'm saying here.
Uh-huh.
if that's what they were doing the night before for the roommates, if they saw something or thought they saw something or weren't sure
Oh
what they
yeah.
saw, a long trip could be 10 hours, 12 hours
Absolutely.
on a tab, or a couple, you know what I mean? I've done it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there, and I've been having the
Or
time of my
imagine the
life. And there's
paranoia
times
from
I've
a
been just
stimulant
like
that you've
in
done a
bed,
little too
just
much of.
waiting for it to be over,
Yeah.
right? And so I think if
Yeah.
you're on the cusp or
Anything.
coming down, you go
Yeah.
out, you don't know exactly what you're seeing, maybe you're confused,
Yeah.
you're coming down, you go back to bed, and then you come out and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck, this is real. And I'm not saying you see things that aren't there, but there's color changes,
No, I
there's
mean,
a dizziness, there's a total askew of reality. And if that
Yep.
is the case, that's the only way I can
Absolutely.
see an element of drugs coming into play, of what happened from the time the crime was committed to the time the 911 call was
yeah.
made
And
for
if
the
you're
roommates.
Mm-hmm.
and if you're in that altered state, you're gonna want to believe that it's not real, right? I mean, who could
Yeah.
imagine?
Yeah, because the whole time you're like, if you start to freak out a little bit, you tell yourself this isn't real. Like it's
Yeah, exactly.
what I
That's
took
probably
making me feel
exactly
this way.
what
Like you
happened.
talk yourself out to talk yourself down so you don't freak out if it starts to feel too much. And again, like a long a decent trip on a tab or two, I mean, it's 10, 12 hours easily. And
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
tiny people too, so I don't think it's outside
Right.
the realm. And then again, do I think that's gonna, well, the roommates didn't make the phone call for 10 hours because they were like on the no, will
Okay,
that come out at
but
trial?
sis, like
Probably, but
sis,
are they gonna put that in the affidavit? No. And that's one
Exactly.
reason why I think that
Exactly.
could be under wraps.
well, take
Right.
that a step
Yep.
further, sis. Okay, if we're looking at the climate right now, the climate is BK was possibly over there to purchase illegal substances, right? That's the whole rumor on the street. Like, does that
Mm-hmm.
forgive any of the atrocities that came to these four young people? No. Is
No.
it true? No. Is it, can it be
I'm gonna
proven?
ping that
Probably
that's why
not.
he was.
Well, that's
Wait,
what
hold
the
That's
it.
my
Just
opinion.
pause.
speculation
Everyone
is.
pause
I know
for
that's
just
a
a
lot of.
moment. We're gonna take a bunny break, but not without a bunny because just 1 minute. You got I don't know exactly what's going on in chat, but everyone calm down. Let's do some oming or
Kelly, you're so
whatever.
funny.
And chat's just getting a little, So, of course, let me just say this. I'm sorry. Please hold your thoughts, my lovely panelists. I love hearing from you guys. I just have to say, my thoughts on, obviously, if the man is guilty, he should be exonerated. I'm sorry, if the man is innocent, he should be exonerated. If he's
Excuse
guilty,
me? No.
yeah, I know. He should get, whatever, the punishment is, they decide. I don't really care because it's a disgusting crime, honestly. But, and we talked about this too before, Sis Vicious, but, I think there's a lot of confusion regarding what is actual evidence, what is actual, court motions, orders, and whatever might be related to the case. And this really is at the center of the problem that I've been so miffed about that made me just walk away from this case. But now I'm back and I'm like, hey, good, let's talk about it. People that don't know what they are talking about, Ashley Banfield, some YouTube channels you might be watching right now. Hey, what's up? For whatever reason, whomever may be
Kelly.
deciding to,
We love Ashley over here. And
I love Ashley. She's my girl. We just had a little breakup, but we're back together now.
Okay, good.
Love is a strong word.
I just got mad at her a little bit. We're really not back together, but I'll just say that. I'm still
I
mad at
love
her.
her. Come for me. Don't care.
I did until
I
recently.
love what
And
I love.
I just want to say too, I'm tossing conjecture out because I watch so many things. I don't always comment.
No, you're
But
good. You're good.
I
I'm
think
talking about the people
that,
in chat right now, but you're good.
yeah,
You're
and
good.
I'm not trying to inflame anybody. It's all conjecture. It's all speculation. But I see people talking about, or a couple. I can't remember who it was. Said, "Oh yeah, it was a known party house, a known, they were into all these different things." But the mindset of people who don't know or haven't lived in that lifestyle are automatically thinking hard drugs, cartel. And it's like that's just
Exactly.
not the case.
Well,
I think there could
I
be an
know. You know
element
what? And
of
that's why I'm thinking
drug
of like sharing.
involvement without like, that being
Yeah.
the cause of this crime. I don't think anyone's saying that, but if we're looking for reasons why X could equal X or Y equals Y, then I think there's more simplistic reasons how
Right.
elements of what people are saying could play in without these just crazy
No.
left
Sis.
field, whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway.
absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
the MSM view, as far as the experts they have on panel, is that if it were a cartel hit, it would have been a firearm instead of a blade.
Exactly. I mean, come on. It's just like, I'm sorry. If anybody is thinking it's a cartel hit, I'm so sorry. It's nothing personal
common
or anything,
sense,
but it's
really.
a freaking stupid idea, guys. Like, please stop with that. It's just like there's nothing there to support it. It's just dumb for this one. Please, let's stop. Sorry.
And then there's those out there that are saying, oh, well, Brian, what's his face, had a drug problem like 10 years ago.
I know.
So, and that relates to one of the victims'
You know
moms
what?
having a drug problem.
You know what?
No,
Like
it doesn't.
40% of America has had a serious drug problem 10 to 20
equate.
years ago. Right?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
it
does
doesn't
not equate. No.
These are different circumstances, different states, different age groups, different populations, right? Like, how does that make any sense? Sis, does it make sense to you?
Oh.
Negative.
No.
Big negative. Thank you.
That's so funny.
Just
Oh,
because
hey, Tony. How are you?
Just because someone like may have had a drug problem unrelated in another state doesn't mean that it makes any difference to the bearing of one of the victims in this case, who one of the family members had a drug problem in another state. It's just bizarre that people make that link. It's so bizarre to me.
I don't think
I don't get it.
someone had a drug problem that was involved in this crime, or the person that did it had a drug problem years ago, and the people that live in that house now having a heinous crime committed against them that might also experiment with drugs at parties. Who doesn't? MDMA, like hallucinogenics, anything like that. It's an experience. It's not like
I did it all in
living
college.
in that state, and I don't think the two have anything to do with the other.
And I
And I
had
think
fun.
people want those two to intersect, and they just don't for me. I don't think it.
I mean, H is a very different. Kelly, we're 90s kids, right? H is a very different thing from the early 90s to when we were coming up, right? And all the different party scene kind of things. And that's what BK, he's like 12 years younger than us. It's bizarre that is even still like an epidemic. I didn't even know. I thought it was all like Fent or Opes or whatever. I don't want to say something incorrect on the channel, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, like I was surprised after hearing about this that was even still an epidemic after like the early 90s with Kurt Cobain, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, apparently it's like still a party thing.
I thought it was all like, pill doctors and stuff.
You're showing your age. I definitely think
Well,
it
I'm
is
old.
that. Yeah,
So
I know.
what?
Well, see, that's exactly the thing. Is hold it, wait. I gotta switch my audio source here because my earbuds are like bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye bye. I can't get them off now. Not connected. All right. Let's see. Can you guys talk? Speak. Oh no, I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. That's, I mean, you're making the point though. I think that there are so many things that, I know like my nieces talk to me about this stuff because they can't talk to their parents about it. And I just want them to talk to me about it because I want to make sure that they're safe and everything. And I think whatever. But I mean, there's so many different options now. It's not like because somebody uses an illicit substance, it puts them in, a criminal ring or even really in a criminal category. Now, some people might say, well, if you're using illegal substances, you're a criminal. Well, you can have that perspective if you want, but I'm going to tell you right here now, in college life in America, it's an everyday part of life for a larger percent of the population than you want to believe. And I am a behavioral therapist for teens and young adults, and I am certain this is the case. Not only do I talk to them and observe their behavior, I have the I have the pie charts and the data, right? DC Primetime.
We love the data.
Yeah.
But like, I was not aware that H, like injecting H, was still such an epidemic in the Northeast, like until this case. I had no idea. So I think that's, that's problematic. But it doesn't have anything to do with recreational use of college students, like experimenting and dabbling and like, it's a different culture than heavy. I mean, H is a heavy thing.
It is, but it doesn't even have anything to do, I don't think, with this case. It's like, I think Xander Carnoto's mother, I think that's one thing she used. Obviously, we knew Koberg used to use it. I talked before on a couple previous live streams about what it was that was going on in this house, and it was not that. So I just don't want to get people confused that might be listening right now or watching this on replay or something.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. There's a big difference between dabbling and like, experimenting in college and injecting something into your arm.
But not to like, but kind of like my sort of sight is on the point of, even if that is what was going on, it has nothing to do with anything. You don't make like serious drug addiction to dabbling in drug use unless you are actually part of like an organized crime ring. A quadruple homicide is not part of your DRUG doing, So to me, it kind of, I kind of got away from even talking about the substances, first of all, because I thought it was too much information. But then I thought, to me, for where I'm coming from, it loses a point because that doesn't even matter. No matter how you look at it, it's moot. Unless you can tell me that, one of these students is like the grandson of John Gotti, I'm like, forget it. It's nothing about that.
Yeah, and unless like all of these people,
and why did he be in Idaho? Only him and WSU Kim are from New York apparently, and they're over there.
Well, unless these young people were
just kidding,
like entrusted with moving product across like country lines or something, there's no use for dispelling them in some kind of drug hit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said the word.
Yeah.
DRUG hit.
No, it's
bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is pretty clear cut.
Right.
This is a very disturbed individual, whether it's K bro or whomever. We're going to give him the presumption of innocence, but whomever or how many other people may have done this. Some people think there's more than one. I personally do not. But this is not something that is like revenge for something DRUG related.
Right, exactly, because that would be something that would be clean, that wouldn't leave any evidence. It wouldn't be the way it was. Exactly. And I mean, and the suspect himself, guys, I know that there are people that think there was like 16 people involved, and that's okay. But the way I feel, no, it's not okay, but I just don't want to even get into it because it gives me a headache. But the way I feel about it is, this individual who is a suspect fits the psychological profile of somebody who could have, if not stopped, if things weren't put in his way, if speed bumps weren't put in his way to slow him down, if he was not put into check by society, by the legal institution, whatever the case may be, he is somebody who is showing indicators on being on a trajectory of psychopathy. And that is just how it is from my perspective.
It's not only your perspective, Kelly. I mean, there are people
Yeah.
looking into previous crimes in Pennsylvania, looking at him and questioning his own parents
Why did they get called before a grand jury?
Yeah, what is that about? Like, are they substantiating his alibi?
It's
Like,
grand jury, it's
what's
secret,
going
so we
on?
aren't going to know till we know after the fact. But I have no
It's
clue.
bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Like but what it says to us is they are looking at this guy as this type of individual who there's a few of them out there, and I think the percentage is low, so we can rest assured in that fact. But there is a great few that are of this type of mentality.
But here's the thing, though. But with a grand jury, we don't know. It's secret. It could be completely related to something not having to do with this. We do not know. We do not know until. And I just want to say we do not know because it's a grand jury. So I don't want to. People get confused. DC. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, I'm not confused. I mean,
well, I'm confused too, but I don't want to.
Obviously, they're looking for an alibi for this person. Like, just because he was in the area, I mean, obviously, they're looking at him for some reason. We can speculate as to what that was.
Wait, who do you think is going to provide? His parents can't provide an alibi. They were across the country.
I mean, in the Pennsylvania case.
Oh, okay, got ya. Okay, got ya.
Yeah, I mean, so they're looking at this person. Somebody in the FBI has profiled him, I'm sure. Let's look at Jennifer Coffendorfer, for example. She's pretty much profiled him to the max limit. But the thing is, this dude, he's an interesting study. And I don't mean that to take away anything from the lives of these 4 victims that were heinously murdered. If he is innocent, like, wow, that's inconvenient for him. But he's an interesting kind of person to look at. And I think that time will tell what his involvement was based on the evidence.
I certainly hope. I think it will. I believe it will too. Now, I just want to clarify something. So Jeannie Ramsey, who is both bright and swift, says, what's the obsession? They were called as witnesses to something else in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. That grand jury can only cover that county. I didn't realize it was a county. Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. She's always a mic dropper. Silence, crickets, mic drop.
Jeannie is like the voice of reason in this chat. Thank you, Jeannie.
Always. Are you still there, sis? Sis. Her kids must be going cray. Or maybe she's driving around with them. Wasn't she driving around with them the first, to put them, I think she was in the car with them, because they were sleeping or something the first time she was here. I think. Cute. Because my stepsister had to do that when her kids were little. They would only fall asleep in the car. I'm like, you are
I remember that.
a really bad habit, girl.
Yes. I remember listening to Jeannie's story or Sis's story and thinking back to my middle child. I would have to drive around with her in the car for her to get to sleep. And it was like a Mercedes, like a really old Mercedes that oh my God, the engine was really loud and would just put her right down.
Yeah.
And I remember driving her around.
Aw, that's so cute. My son just always, one of my good friends would nannied him for a while. And she's like, he was just the best baby. He'd put himself to bed. It was just so great. He'd get his little blankie and he'd crawl up and he'd be just snoring every time. I was like, I was so lucky. Oh man.
I have 3 of them, and my middle one, she just would not be put down. I had to put on the weird sounds, like the white noise and everything, just to put her down, or I had to just wear her on my person, at all times. Yeah. It's weird how they're all different, right?
Yeah, it is. Jeannie Ramsey says, wait, did someone just call me the voice of reason? My husband is laughing and frowning. Yeah, Mike, DC Primetime just called her the voice of reason. Take that. What do you think of that?
I bet Mike snores at night. I'm just saying. No,
I'm just saying.
No
Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you by that. Oh my goodness. Does anyone have any questions in chat?
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
This hasn't
Oh,
been
and you
really
can
brought
ask a
up yet.
question, of course. I'm so sorry. Somebody was like, they said they wanted to ask me a question. They weren't sure how the chat worked. Was it Zyra? You can absolutely ask a question. Oh, yeah, you can ask a question. You can come up on panel if you want. I'm going to link the chat right now, or you can just type it in chat, and hopefully I'll definitely try to see it. Okay. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, DC. Oop, you there?
Yes, I'm here. So my question is, if we're looking at the exculpatory evidence for BK, how unlucky is it that his or a familial DNA link to his father as being the son of his father was found on the button of the sheath
Wait,
for the
hold on.
knife?
I'm so sorry. And then I'm not going to pay attention to these things in class. Melissa says, you can't even get Kaylee's name right, but then you act like you're more knowledgeable than anyone else. You need help. I don't think I'm more knowledgeable than anyone else. I've been wrong about a number of things. I'll be wrong again. And I could be wrong about this one. Like I always say, and sometimes I am. And then we talk about it. And all these people keep telling me that I'm saying Kaylee's name is Kelly. Kelly is my name. And I say it much different than I say Kaylee's name. And it's just like, what a petty thing to bring up when we're talking about a quadruple homicide. So if you don't like being here, that's cool. So why don't we, if somebody can just block Melissa, that would be terrific. I'm just sick of it. Okay, go ahead, DC.
Well, to my understanding, it's Kaylee Gonzalves.
Yeah.
Gonzalves? I don't know. It's
When,
like a
when
Portuguese
I first started
name.
talking about this case, I was corrected on that, and I understand because it's Goncalves is
Gonzalves.
yeah.
It's not Goncalves. It's Gonzalves. It's like
That's
a
correct.
Portuguese name,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Okay.
And I'm from upstate New
Apologies to
York,
the
so
family.
my A's and my vowels are very long and weird. So some people just might not understand that. And I'm sorry. Thank you, Anaphylaxis. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. You're wonderful. Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
Kelly does have like that Pennsylvania accent, so yeah. Sorry.
It's driving me
Apologies.
crazy. Like we're talking about such a serious thing, and people are like, "You're saying Kaylee's name. You're saying Kelly." I'm like, "That's my name. I don't go around just calling. You don't call like somebody that doesn't have your name your own name. You just don't. It just."
I mean, the judge in this case mispronounced the name.
What's that?
Can we highlight that the judge in this case mispronounced the names
I know
of Kaylee Gonzalves and Xander Kernodle, and he apologized
the judge
for
was
it.
nervous, or what did you think that was about? I
He
really
said
don't
he had
know.
food poisoning and he was like
Oh.
nervous and just torn up about it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know.
Right, yeah.
I get that, dude.
Hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
I kind of
mean,
like
that
this
was
judge.
a pretty big boo-boo, but okay, I get that.
But he apologized. He came out. Like when I make a mistake, like
Yeah.
at work or something, it's like I own up to it immediately so it doesn't become a thing that snowballs.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
let's own up to it and move on. I apologize. I mispronounced the names of these young individuals that were heinously slaughtered in their
Exactly.
home.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
In their home while they were supposed
I
to be
know.
safe.
It's so sad.
Sorry, Kelly, I'm going to have to take a minute.
Okay. Oh, our sweet emotional DC Primetime. You have such a sweetheart. Oh, I know. It's just, it really truly is terrible. And it is, every time I watch those videos, I just, I hope that people feel strongly for this case because, like many of them, if you look at these victims and all the potential they had for their lives, regardless of anything else, I don't know. I suggest you find a, what's that called?
If you look at the victimology, they were sort of higher risk compared to me or you, who are like moms in their 40s, like raising children.
Yeah.
But they were low risk victims overall.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they didn't deserve this. So anybody that I don't stand for it.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I don't stand for it. And whether you believe Kohberger is possibly innocent or not, the fact that these 4 young people were heinously slain in their homes, in their beds, is just abhorrent, and it's tragic. And just check yourself, really.
Yes, absolutely. And I personally don't understand the perspective that Brian Koberger is innocent. It's hard for me to, and I'm trying to, because, I think it's important to be open-minded, but at the same time, I want to be logical and evidence-based. It's hard for me, when people have theories of him having help, I try to go there. But, Mike, are you here, Mike? I just saw you in chat. It said such a good, something that just, every time someone says it now, I think of this. Mike just wrote it in chat and I happened to read it. And I'm like, you damn Skippy, that's right. That, Brian Koberger couldn't even talk to a classmate. He was completely socially inept. So do you think he's going to be able to bond with somebody to the point where they're going to commit a crime like this and have, that has to be that's a commitment. I don't think he had that in him. He was a lone Koberger.
I mean, I said this before
Mhm.
Koberger was arrested. I think whoever did this did not want to share it. This was something that was just his own psychotic indulgence.
Absolutely.
Whether it was Koberger or not, I said this before he was arrested. I didn't know until my husband told me that morning. But he's like, "Oh, your case that you're looking into, he was arrested." I'm like, "What?" But
on my birthday.
I was like, no, this person, whoever it was just in his own world. It was his own existence, his own mental space, his sphere. And he was just trying to learn because he couldn't. And I'm not saying it's Koberger, but I'm saying that whoever did this at the time when I said this was in his own mind space where he just wanted to experience something and get back at the people that had wronged him. It was a perceived slight.
Huh. No, I think that's good. Yeah. I think that sounds accurate to me.
And I do think Brian Koberger did it.
And we have double R and
I'm not gonna.
suspicious.
I don't want to say that he didn't do it. My mind can be changed.
Double R.
Yes.
My mind can be changed. Double R, thank you for coming back. Sis, thank you for coming back.
Yeah,
But,
I had to drop off. Kelly, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to probably drop again in a second, but I saw a comment in chat and I just wanted to, sorry, Double R, I'm cutting you off,
Hey,
but
you're good.
I got to click off in another second. But someone made a comment that, where are the other families at? So far, it's just been the Goncalves show. And I just want to say, someone who's dealt with a lot of personal grief, I feel that for something so deeply personal, everyone has the right to process and grieve how they want. And for the Goncalves family, I think Steve has said it in not such a clear.
If you fall off, I'm going to pick up what you're saying. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but I think that people sometimes get through grief and manage it by compartmentalizing it and bottlenecking it, and they focus on what has to be done. And it's when the dust settles and there's nothing else to do actively that grief sets in. For other people, they might be processing the bulk of that grief on the front end, and they don't have the wherewithal to put themselves forward facing. Ethan's parents have said they don't want to participate in the trial. I think that's their right, and I think that under the circumstances, I don't think that any of us have a right to ask that question, where they are, what they're doing, why they're not doing this, why they're not doing that. I think it's so deeply personal. I cannot fathom what they're all feeling and however they choose to process it. And, they don't owe any of us a thing. And, I think it's important that we remember to respect that. As much as we all might want to hear from them, we don't have the right. And, we don't even have the right to comment, in my opinion. Not to offend anybody, but.
Amen to that. Everybody processes in their own right, in their own time.
Yeah. Joseph Rapp, what do you have? Do you want to come up and say something original? Please. Here's the link. I'll post it for you. Come on up. Let's hear something original. Go ahead, DC.
I mean, Kelly, I lost both of my parents, and I processed both of their deaths in such a different way.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's just so individualistic, and There's no book, there's no manual, there's
Mhm.
no right or wrong answer. So for the Goncalves family to come out and just spearhead this cause for justice, it's
Mhm.
admirable. But it's no less admirable for any of the other parents or families to grieve in their own way.
Right. I personally think it's admirable, but I did recently when the Gonsalveses came on the Drunk Turkey show, I certainly did have the thought, well, good for them if that's what they want to do, but how is this affecting the other victims' families? Because I do know what Stacey Chapin's wishes are, and I do know that she is handling it very different than the Goncalves family. And I don't want to even say much more about that because she chooses to be private in a certain way, except for what she talks about and how she wants to express herself. And I think that is admirable. I don't know. I'm like you said, I don't think there's one or more than the other, but I think if you wanted to, and if you were open-minded, you could look at either response in a negative way. But let's all remember, they are suffering greatly. They are victims. And I don't think we need to spend our energy judging any of them.
I
No.
agree. And I think Steve, organically is just probably a take charge kind of guy in many ways.
Yes.
And so again, I think it's probably when there's nothing left to do,
Yeah.
that he'll, probably process in more
Very
silently the
insightful.
way the rest of the family is. But
Right. Yeah,
That's a
totally.
deep understanding for grief, sis. Thank you
Mhm.
for
And
bringing
and
that
I
out.
think I think with the Chapins, their sense of loss and void and emptiness in her family is unique because Ethan was a triplet. They were so close. They were all at the same university together. I mean, he and his brother were very close, and his sister was too. I mean, I think that their sense of loss is unique. I think that they are also different kind of parents, and their focus now is on quality for the family that is going to exist for them now, quality and doing everything for Ethan in his memory and all that is done in his memory. And they have great visions and they want to do a lot of really great things, and that is their focus, and that's where their focus needs to be, because that's what allows them to wake up and move forward every day. So why would I judge that, right?
There's no judging that.
Yeah.
And if anybody in this chat or on YouTube at large were to judge that,
Well,
like,
people do judge it.
seriously,
Well,
sick. It's sick.
people do judge it. So maybe we can just, if you think differently, explain. So maybe they can relate to that. And if, everyone's in a different spot. But yeah, if you
There
also
are rooms of experience that so many of us have dwelled, Kelly.
Yeah.
I lost my parents at a young age, both of them.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I think that it would be just 10 times as brutal to lose a child, any one of my children. And I could not imagine I couldn't imagine what they're going through, any of them.
No,
To
absolutely
lose their
not.
children in the prime of their
Yeah.
lives. It's just so hard to bear.
Yeah.
Just the thought of them.
Yeah. And
I can't. I can't even go there. There's no space for me to go there, Kelly. I can't do it.
I know it's terrible, and and I think that like Gray Nicole was saying, it's in different, but what you're saying is, that I think with regarding the parents, I think that for some of us, because it's hard for everybody to process, just like you're feeling right now, and I feel a lot of times, I hope everyone does. It's almost like, we also need to have our preferred way of processing this horror. And maybe for some people to see everybody like united, like that feels like the best way of processing. And I get that too. So I'm not judging anybody. That's all. It's all good, guys, and it's a very, very, very hard case.
But I can't imagine losing a child.
No,
Like,
I
I've
don't even
lost
want
my
to try.
parents.
No.
But I
Yeah.
could not imagine
No.
what these parents are going through. It's not fair to them.
I know.
I'm sorry, Kelly.
No, it's okay. And I
I
mean,
have-
this is something to cry over. It's okay. No.
I have children. I have 3 children. I have 3 girls.
Hi, Genevieve.
I look at these. Genevieve's my middle girl, but Julian and Bridget, and to look at these girls just in the prime of their lives, beautiful, vibrant young people in college, and that's my girls in a few years, and it's just hard to imagine the loss of these vibrant young people that could have made an impact on the planet and their communities and just done the best. And it's hard for me to go there. I'm sorry.
It's almost impossible to go there, I think. Joseph Rapp, what do you you wanted to what do you want to bring to the table? I am so super open to it. Please put it in chat. Come on up. Whatever you'd like to do. I'd love to hear it. Oh my gosh.
Chad, I'm so sorry. That was heavy. I'm really sorry.
Don't apologize. Please don't apologize. No, you absolutely don't.
I just have toxic empathy for people, and I see what people feel, and I know what they go through, and I've been through tragic loss.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's been through that can speak to it.
Absolutely.
And those who have not maybe don't understand as well. I don't know.
Here, I'm going to bring Riddler. One is coming up on stream, or up on panel. So I just want to say hello to Riddler. Hey, and you're getting a lot of support in chat, by the way, DC. How you doing, Riddler? What's going on?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me up here.
Yeah, glad you came up. What's going on? What are you thinking about?
Well, let's go over a PA and reasonable articulate suspicion.
Okay.
Okay, a PCA, you got to have a judge's signature to make the arrest. So they put all that in there. And that's going to be an official document. And I think they swear in the officer that makes that signs it at the end. He has to swear an oath that everything in there is true.
Yes, I believe that's true. Yeah.
At least in most states, every state's different.
Sure. Cool.
Now, reasonable articulate suspicion is when a police officer confronts you either while you're driving or you're walking down the street. Mostly it's walking down the street. He has to have reasonable articulate suspicion to even ID you.
Right.
If it's not a stop and search state.
But can't that seriously be almost anything, though? I mean,
well, reasonable articulate suspicion for detainment and for arrest. He has to qualify one of these 3. A crime has been committed.
Okay.
A crime is about to be committed, or a crime is in the process.
Oh, okay.
So
I've heard that before, but I totally didn't even retain it.
Right.
Okay.
The best place to watch that is those First Amendment auditors, because they're all standing on a public sidewalk, and police officers want to ID them. They say anytime a police officer wants to ID you, have to do it. They say you better get your supervisor here. Then he has to take the walk of shame back to his car. So
I mean, Riddler, that bears to be repeated. Can you explain that one more time?
Okay, the reasonable articulate suspicion. It's called RAS. And there's police officers don't even know that, and they're out there working. For a police officer comes up to you, if you're not in a stop and search state, for a police officer to come up to you while you're walking down the street and says, I want to ID you, give me your ID, and you're standing in a public sidewalk, all you got to do is say, what crime do you suspect me of committing, or I'm in the process of committing, or I'm about to commit? If he can't answer one of those 3, he can't arrest you. He can't ask for your ID. See, a lot of people go watch First Amendment auditors, any of them. I like Long Island. He's my favorite. But you can watch them. They'll go into they go into courthouses with their cameras. They say, oh, there's a policy that says no photography. He goes, well, policy doesn't supersede the Supreme Court's ruling. And the Supreme Court's ruling is your eyes cannot trespass and that you have the freedom of press. It even came out. It came out with the, and I know this is a little bit different what we should be talking about, but it came out that people photographing federal courthouses, that's not a crime, or a police station. Police stations
Right.
want to get you a bank. Long
Right.
as I'm standing on public ground, I can take a picture of anything out there I want. And that's what they're telling them about this RAS. There's no crime being committed because my eyes cannot trespass.
RAS.
But
Can you
right,
explain further? RAS.
it's a lot. Well, it's a whole session on that. And but a PC is a little bit different, but they're kind of kin to each other. The PC is where they carry it to a judge to get a warrant signed, is what they're basically doing, so they can arrest you.
Okay.
And
Probable cause affidavit.
Right.
right.
Okay.
So there's a difference between RAS and there's a difference between a PC. On the PC, you got a judge's signature. RAS, he doesn't need a law officer, doesn't need it to make the
RAS.
arrest.
What does that acronym stand for?
If you look down there, she's got them right down there. Reasonable, articulable suspicion. And each state has a code for it. You can look it up and it'll tell you what a law officer has to go through.
Cool.
But I was going to talk to you earlier, but I was right. I was asking you about the order of the deceased, and we figured that out back a long time ago when the affidavit first came out. But we also noticed that's the order of their birthdays.
Oh, right, right.
I think it's going from the youngest to the oldest. So we weren't sure which one of those it could be.
Well, based on the legal professionals that I talked to in the circumstances of this case, all of them, independent of one another, agree that that would be the order of the commission of the crimes.
And that's true. Not every one I've seen, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
That's the way the judge wants it. And that's the way he's going to read it. If there is a guilty verdict, they're going to read it because he's got 5 charges against him right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Burglary and the 4 first count, yes.
now here's something I don't understand about our judicial.
Riddler.
Yes.
Just to be victim or devil's advocate, what does that mean? Like, how can you prove that in a court of law? The order of which these crimes were committed.
Oh, well, evidence.
Well, they have to go with they're going with their best science and evidence that they have right now. And I don't know if
Listen, one weapon was used for the commission of each of these 4 crimes. So there's
one weapon. Okay.
So there's going to be the first person. There's probably going to be only 1 victim DNA. The second person, there's probably going to be 2 substantial victim DNA. The third person, you see what I'm saying? I'd rather not be any more graphic than that, if it's okay.
It's not graphic, but it's relevant.
Yes.
Well, the only other thing is they can only go by, and we'll go back to the PCA. It doesn't tell you everything that happened. It's a brief summary.
Right.
And just enough to get someone arrested without the prosecution having to show all their cards. Right?
Exactly. That's what we were having a conversation about. You summed it up perfectly.
Right. They're keeping it close to their vest. They do not want to expose their hand. But the question I got is, and I can't, and here I'm the Riddler. Why did Mr. Goncalves say he did not have to go up those steps? That threw me for a loop because that makes me figure the first part.
Just one second. Hold, I got to go ahead. Go ahead. I just have it's my bunny, my disabled bunny again. Who's not feeling well. She's about to jump out of her second story cage. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. When he said he did not have to go up the steps, did that mean the hit was on the second floor? Or is he just saying something to throw somebody off? I don't understand his riddle, and I would love to ask him.
He didn't have to go up to the 3rd floor, is what I understand it to be.
But that's where he went first.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
How come? Why did he not have to go up those steps? He's going in there to do an evil deed.
I mean, the target was on the 3rd floor, obviously, to me. He didn't have to go down to the 1st floor because the target was on the 3rd floor.
Right. He He enters on the second floor.
Yeah, he enters through the sliding glass door and exits
Right.
through the same door.
Well, that's what we're thinking. Sure. So why was it said he did not have to go up
Uh-oh.
the
There's two of
steps?
me
That's
now
that's
because I'm
his.
on.
Sure.
He didn't have to go up if the target was Xana or Dylan.
Why would Xana and Dylan be the target?
Dylan was not the target.
I mean, why
Because
was
she's
Xana?
alive.
No, why was Xana? I'm sorry, not Dylan. Why was Xana and Ethan the target?
They weren't the target because the
Well, you just said they were the target.
No, I said that the target was on the third floor. They didn't have to go up those steps if the target was on the second floor.
What's your theory about that, Gray Nicole? She says I have a theory about that.
He's coming in the house. He's on the second floor. So far, he hasn't done anything but breaking and entering. Why does he not have to go up to the third floor? That's his target, right? The third floor.
Absolutely, it's his target.
Okay, so that's why he went up there. That's why he has to go up the steps. He's not going to fly up there, so he's got to go up the steps. If that's his target, I don't understand.
Listen, I think he was under intense emotional influence at that time, and I think he could have meant what you're saying, that okay, the target was on the second floor. He didn't have to go up steps. Or I think he could have meant, I said this in a video I just made. I've said this about Steve Goncalves since I first heard him speak, and we were talking about him. Nobody says anything the way Steve Goncalves does. He's got his own Steve G-isms. Like he do you understand what I'm saying? So I think and also just under the emotional intensity, I think he could have meant they didn't have to go up the steps the way he said it. Like, you know, I think he could have very well meant the opposite. Mike is saying he said a lot of things, and I think that he is a unique communicator, and I think he is also in a like mental and emotional space we can't comprehend. I can't comprehend.
Yeah,
right.
Rooms of experience.
And we don't know what all went through his head after losing a daughter, especially the way he lost her.
Exactly.
I mean, there were two victims that were potentially on the sliding glass level floor. Xana and Dylan, right?
Right.
But he did not have to venture to the third floor if he was not engaged to do so. The target was on the third floor. I mean,
But see, I'm like, no way. It sounds like Kaylee's dad thinks that the target was Xana and Ethan by what he's saying.
no, I don't think that at all.
Because you don't have to go upstairs. You already got your target. Now leave.
No,
I
think he believes that his target was on the third floor. Personally, that's what I believe.
Well, it doesn't make a bit of sense to say he doesn't have to go up the steps to get to his target.
But you're right. You're right, and I think we don't know, but we do. I would suggest that Steve Goncalves, and I mean, I think Steve's got nothing but love for me, but I think he's said a number of things that maybe don't make so much sense. Now, Gray Nicole puts forth a theory, says, I think Steve was throwing things out in hopes of being publicly corrected. He purposely gave out misinformation, in my opinion. I think that's very possible. Yes, I think that's very.
I don't think so, Kelly. I don't
Well,
think so.
Well,
personally.
geez, DC. I think. Okay, go ahead.
I think the target was definitely on the third floor.
I believe that too.
Maybe it was not Steve's daughter at all.
I also think it was Maddie, but I also think that it's very, at the same time, I do believe it could also simultaneously be possible that Steve Goncalves was desperate to find the murderer of his daughter, whether she was a target or not. And he was putting out misinformation in hopes that their ego would get to them, or they would slip up, because Steve is not a stupid man. And either of those possibilities are definitely at play. 'Tis the nature of the human being.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still.
What do you think, Riddler?
I'm just thinking that he's got a different dictionary vocabulary than we do.
Right.
Yeah, we all have our own personal
No,
dictionary.
but Steve is like very different, I feel.
Yeah, it's way off. Yeah.
I don't think it's way off.
Oh gosh, I used to be able to think of examples of what I've personally noticed this about him from the very beginning. He mixes euphemisms and metaphors and things like that. It's just the G way. I don't know. That's what I call it.
Okay, I'll just back it up to you for one last time, and then we can quit debating it. But if I'm coming into that house and my target to hit is on the 3rd floor, I've got to go up those steps to get to the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody says you didn't have to go up the steps to get to your target, that means my target now is on the 2nd floor or the 1st floor. Well, we know the only people that were deceased was on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. So so what he said, maybe he got words twisted. Maybe he's upset. Maybe he said something wrong. And then he went out and said one of them got it worse than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Okay, let's make no mistake about it. The target was on the 3rd floor.
Wait, hold it, DC. Remember, we've gone through this. People can have different opinions, but
my opinion.
Okay.
Let's make no mistake about it. Dude didn't have to go to the 3rd floor, whomever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Presumption of innocence. But he didn't have to go to the 3rd floor if his target was on the 2nd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Or the 1st floor, which was totally unscathed.
Yeah.
Well, then that backs up what I'm saying earlier. Who was the target?
The target was on the 3rd floor.
All right, so you didn't have to go up the steps. I'm not going to go into it any more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, nobody's going to know. The answer to that question may or may not even be in Steve Goncalves' head. He might not even know, guys. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter if it's Steve's head.
The facts do, yes, of course, matter. But what Riddler is asking is specifically about why did Steve say that, So I was just trying to.
I don't understand why Steve said that, but I agree with Steve. The target was on the 3rd floor.
Right. No Way says we knew who the target was. Who do you think the target was? No Way. I feel pretty sure it was Maddie.
It was Maddie, in my opinion.
Now, another thing I see, so many people says, "Oh, this looks just like Ted Bundy." Well, Ted Bundy mostly hit his people over the head with a blunt object.
It was just sorority girls. I think that was the thing,
And those, and they lived on
people
campus.
see sorority girls and they don't see anything other than sorority girls.
But Danny Rawlings, there's one you need to watch for about 45-minute documentary. He's going through his. I was there.
I was there.
Go Gators.
Go Gators, babe.
He went through. He lives out in the woods. He goes through a sliding glass door, starting to sound familiar, with a K-bar knife. And he takes out 2 girls the first night. The first girl he comes up to, he just stares over while she's laying down. The second one, he goes up the steps inside that apartment, does his evil deeds, comes back downstairs, does his evil deeds with the number 2. But he got, I think, five females and 1 male, I believe it was. Or it might have been 4 females and 1 male. There's way more similarities with the Danny Rawlings.
Riddler, I'd just like to pause for a second.
Wait, hold it. Wait. Let him finish. I'm having to.
Well, anyway, it's not 100% Danny on that one because he was. There's other things that happened. There's SA and bondage and the whole works, but you see more of it going through that sliding glass door. Now I know in one of the cases he didn't go through, but my point is nobody heard the screams. Nobody. How many people heard the screams in Ted Bundy when he went to FSU at the sorority house?
Yeah,
it's just so triggering because I'm from Florida. But
well, same here. I'm from Florida.
Yes, but for me, sorry, snoring husband in the background. But for me, I think if we look at criminal profiler Pat Brown, she talks about how Danny Rawlings is so different than Ted Bundy. And if we can just kind of parse those differences,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
the
He's different than
perpetrator of this crime, be it or may not be Brian Koberger, presumption of innocence, I think that there is a difference.
Wait, I just want to say something. So, hi, what is it? Sarah Sorek says, whoops. Some of these channels go back 50 years and they're conspiracy theories. If you're talking about my channel and this being a conspiracy theory, we do not talk conspiracy theories, but there are behavioral patterns that we can see over time, particularly with people with certain pathology like murders or serial murders. So that's what we're discussing rather than conspiracy theories. I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. Go ahead, guys.
Well, Danny Rowland was no conspiracy theory. It was all fact.
Right.
And that's what I was.
Serial murderer.
Right.
And what I was trying to say is
you've got
the people on television saying this just looks like Bundy. And I'm saying to myself, have you people forgotten about
Florida State?
Right. And I'm saying, no, it looks more like Danny Rawling. It's closer to that.
I agree. I agree. It is
well,
closer
you and I
to
agree
Danny
together.
Rawling.
Yeah, much closer. And a lot of people in here are too young to know who he was. And they need to go read about how he operated. And one of the amazing things in his case, and I'll quit talking about Danny, was he left his wallet in one of the victims' rooms.
Oh, it's
he gets
kind of
back.
like but worse.
Yeah, right. But he went back to retrieve it and got it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yes.
Conversely, the suspect in this case went back the morning of to retrieve something possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly. Not saying it's a fact.
It's super weird that he did do that. That's for sure. And it struck me as
It's
wow.
a pattern, right?
Well,
Kelly,
I mean, I think he could have either been trying to admire his work as he saw it as being, or he could have been like, oh, holy mother of God, I left the knife sheath there. And
he was a student and he was learning.
Yeah.
And possibly just wanted to
he may have been very concerned when he didn't hear anything about it, on the anything at like 8 or 9 a.m. and been like, what the heck? Like, like, I don't know what he would have been thinking, but yeah. This is a lie that never ends. It goes on and on, my friends. Some people started chatting in it, not knowing what it was. I know I feel that way too, Mrs. B.
No, these people didn't call law enforcement right away. That's a problem, right? That's going to be a problem to regular people.
Right.
That's going to be
to all people.
That's going to be an issue. Like, why? Why did you call all these people before you called law enforcement?
Yeah.
Why? That's a big question. But it doesn't take away from the tragedy.
I know nothing. Yeah, I know crime. Nothing is going to ever take away from that. But I mean,
can I ask one more question?
Please go ahead.
All right. BK is arrested under this PCA. Has he had a chance to defend the PCA, not the case, but the PCA, saying, hey, that's wrong. I wasn't even there. I'll tell you where I was at. And you got me here at this time of the day. Has his attorney had that chance to say your PCA is inaccurate? He needs to be released.
Well, they could, and a PCA can be invalidated, but there'd have to be certain technical reasons for that, right? Does anyone see your chat that knows specifically about that? But I think really, once the judge signs that warrant based on a probable cause affidavit, you are under the sight of the court. So he's on, he's being held without bond now. So it's trial for him. It's a plea or a trial for him. He's not fleeing.
I mean, I would hate to know that a PCA got written by law enforcement and just say he got one of us. Everybody think about that. So you go to court. Do you get to challenge that PCA or you got to sit there and wait till November? That's the only thing I don't know. I mean, I don't know everything either. I'm just asking questions because that would be something in the judicial system I think needs to be fixed because if or you just have to wait to your court date to challenge that
I
PCA.
think the court system is on the money in this case.
Yeah, I mean, the court
Personally.
system, I mean, something that I say about the probable cause affidavit is we must remember the purpose of the probable cause affidavit is to put forth enough evidence for a judge to sign a warrant to get the perpetrator off the street so nobody else becomes a victim and to get the process of justice started. And I think that's where you're at, man. Yeah, it's like that. I think if the authorities have enough on you to get to have a PCA turned to a warrant by a judge, then you're in the system now. It's the process. So I think that's what's up.
So if that was any one of us, we'd be sitting there till November and our lives are
Well,
screwed now. I
let's
mean, I'm
hope
just
that,
saying.
yeah, right. Well, yeah, yes, and certainly a person who is innocent could be held on probable cause for. I mean, look at I so many cases, people that have been in prison their whole lives, that have been on death row, that have been put to death, that were innocent. So yeah, the justice system isn't perfect, but I guess that we, rely on our society keeping in check through democracy when we observe these imperfections. I don't have total faith in that system anymore, but that is why we all need to take part in the justice system. These are like the principles that I was raised on because all my family who is the justice system people. And I really believe that we all need to care and we all need to take part in it, which is one of the reasons I have this channel. And we are all gathered here talking now till this live stream is never going to end. So apparently till death do us part.
One of the reasons I feel confident about this case, excuse me, is that the FBI is involved.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And they're there assisting. If not, I don't know where they would be at just with that Moscow Sheriff's Department. I don't know how far they've got into it by now.
They wouldn't have gotten into it far at all. So Mike says, you get to challenge in court. There's been cases where lawyers attack the PCA so well that the prosecutors are forced to drop the charges due to lack of admissible evidence. That is exactly right, Mike. And that is why I keep saying with the probable cause affidavit, when people are asking, oh, is this really true? Is it really true? Well, I hope for fuck's sake it's true, because if it's not, then we've really got a problem as far as prosecuting this guy if he is in fact the one who committed the crime, and I believe he is.
I have a question, Kelly.
Yes.
And this is a big one. How many people can you name were wrongly accused and convicted? And how many people can
Well, I
you
don't know if
say
I would know that.
were rightly accused, possibly, and exonerated?
I don't have any context for that, really, truly. I mean, it's a good question. That's a big justice question. Yeah, you're right, for sure.
Can you name one person that was wrongly convicted? Name one.
Yeah, well, that's what
Anybody
I was just trying to do. And because it's like, what is it, 110 here, my brain is putting, and because I can think of a.
Oh, I could tell you right now, there's plenty.
Yeah.
I don't know their names,
There
but
you
they've
go.
got them coming out of.
No.
There's a group in Colorado.
Yeah.
Who is looking over every case or the interesting cases, and they're getting people released from prison all the time because of this new DNA. I don't know if it's called nuclear DNA or what, but the DNA is much stronger now than people who were sentenced 20 and 25 years ago. However,
my question
however,
Relax,
hold on.
Relax.
However, they let one off here in my town, and he went back out and did the same thing again.
Oh, wow.
Because the people who let him off says there's a possibility it wasn't him, it was his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So they released him here, feeling the pressure from that group out of Colorado, and he went back out and did the same exact. He was put in prison for life.
Wow.
Anyway, go ahead. Can I name them? They're insignificant people to me. I wouldn't be able to name them.
Oh man.
That's my point. You can't name one person that was wrongly accused and exonerated, but you can probably name one who you feel in your heart was rightly accused and exonerated. In my opinion.
Well, O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, yeah.
But I
Casey
mean, there's
Anthony.
others. I just can't. I
Yeah.
mean, he's the one that sticks out in my mind because he was the one that, was like the biggest, but there's more. I just can't think right now.
Oh, well, if you're looking at it that way, yeah, there's plenty. But
Yeah.
if you want to go, we're talking about people who were actually sentenced to prison for life or 20 years are now being exonerated, and they're winning lawsuits for it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about how many people were arrested and put in court and then got released because they were found not guilty, yeah, I can start naming those. Yeah.
Oh, Bloodsworth. Oh, thank you, Jeannie. Yeah, I know. You're right. Oh my gosh. I know. Mary. I thought, oh, okay. Never mind. I'm talking to my text now, Jeannie. But yeah, you know what? I do actually have to wrap this up, guys, because I was going to be less, I was going to make it only 90 minutes, but we got into a good discussion. So,
Well, thank you for having me on.
I'm super
appreciate
tired.
it.
I
Kelly.
hate on the conversation if you guys are enjoying it, but I'm really tired. But thank you guys so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. I love hearing from you guys. Double R, DC Prime, Riddler, and Sis Vicious. Thank you guys all so very much. You're awesome.
You're welcome.
Have a good night, Kelly.
Thank you
Have a
for
good
having
night,
me up here.
sweetheart.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it, and I
think
learned
about
something
it.
new.
Oh my gosh,
Think
absolutely.
critically,
Anytime.
chat.
Yeah.
Think critically.
Absolutely. Yes. Think critically and be nice, be kind and respectful. And thank you guys, everyone, so much in chat and moderators, all of the moderators, especially. And everybody's watching replay, just everyone who's here and watching.
See you, DC.
All you purrs in the background like Double R.
Touch your face. All right, see ya.
Bye.
What are you talking about?
You're just sitting there, but I'm just kidding.
I was almost asleep, but DC took over the airwaves, so I just let her talk.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I've had enough of it. See ya.
Yeah, if you want to get a word in edgewise with DC, you gotta know how to butt in. Our girl. So yes. Oops, my Applegate. Next time, documentaries. Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And if anyone needs to send me any information, wattsobsession@gmail.com. Hey, thanks, Arlene. Were you saying you got kicked out by you thought one of us earlier? I'm sure it was a mistake. So it's wattsobsession@gmail.com. There's no the in that email, just wattsobsession@gmail.com. So owe a few of you an email. I'm sorry about that. I only have 1 week left of the students I work with being in school, and then my schedule lines up. So that's kind of good. I mean, I'll miss them and everything, but I know, Sis Vicious. You're the best. So happy to hear from you. Always wonderful to hear from you. Oh, yeah. Oh, come back. Oh, jeez. Hi. Tell us one. Throw us one. Sis.
Am I in? Am I in the club?
You're here.
Sorry, I had to click off. I'm working.
You're on stage.
Okay, so
Tap
there is a
dance.
case, someone actually wrongfully convicted. I do know one.
Mhm.
I don't know if anyone is familiar, but there's a long, deep-rooted history of corruption with the Kansas City police.
Right.
And there is a man, he was finally freed. He spent 43 years in prison. And they discovered him innocent years and years before he was actually freed. But it became a political debate between constituents, and they kept him in prison years after they knew that he was innocent of the crime. They just refused to let him out, which I don't understand. But he was finally freed after 43 years of a crime that he did not commit, which they proved with DNA evidence of the actual perpetrator. But they again continued to leave him in prison for a very long time, knowing he was innocent because of the political backlash, but his name was Kevin Strickland, and he was just freed within a year or two ago.
Right. Okay. I actually did know. I am
story,
aware of that too. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. There you go.
There you go.
Ta-da! And at some point, I will come up with some, but I'm just too freaking tired right now. I gotta go to bed.
It is late. I know. I had to click off for a while. I'm sorry. I always work at night, but
That's
I appreciate
okay.
you letting me come up. It was really good to talk to
Yeah,
you.
always. Same girl. Be in touch. Yeah, and
I
yeah,
will.
let's keep talking.
I will, and I've been meaning to email you some things anyway. I'll get on that.
Yeah,
And,
no, please do.
yeah.
Yes, awesome. All right, sweetheart. Great seeing you. Take care.
Thank
Take care of those
you.
babies.
I will. Take care of those bunnies.
I will. Little happy. Maybe we'll have some bunny breaks next time.
You know, I've been like fighting the urge to reach out, telling you I want one, but I'm like, do I complicate my life or?
Oh, just one is not going to complicate your life. I have like 30. Please take one. I will ship it to you. I will have somebody to transport to you. Take a bunny. God damn it, please. I have any color, shape, or size you want.
Oh my God, I want one so bad.
And they're
really
so
do.
sweet. I would
They
send
are.
you the sweetest. Think about it. Think about it.
I've had babies before. I will. I always think of you when I see. I'm like, oh God, I want one so bad because there's a few breeders around here, but I would get one from you. But yeah, anyway, take care of the bunnies. I'll take care of the babies, and we'll meet in the middle.
All right, girl. Take care.
Bye.
Oh boy, always good times. Always good times. Princess Mother's I should thinking. Oh, not as easy as. Trying to. Wow, you guys have some interesting stories about those who were guilty and were exonerated, or vice versa. Wow. What? Why are you saying DC sucks? We love you, DC. Aww. You're so funny, sweetie. We love having you on here, DC Primetime. You always have wonderful things to say. Oh, goodness. You know how some people will go on like a drinking binge or an eating binge or something? They'll have like guilt afterwards. DC Primetimes like goes on like a having things to say during chat binge and then has guilt afterwards. Don't do that. You're good, girl. You're good. If you weren't, I would accidentally have you all of a sudden not be on panel, be like, oops, don't know what happened. Yeah. No, you have not, DC. Stop it. We love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Everybody give DC love. Yeah, the Innocence Project. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. All right, guys. Everyone, take care. Be safe. Let's all keep our focus on where it belongs, which is the victims. And, just remember, whatever the families are doing, at least in my opinion, they're just doing what they need to do right now. So I suggest we all particularly try to refrain from judgment of them and have compassion for them because they all lost something beautiful, right? So I hope to see y'all soon, and everybody rest up. Have a good night, and don't get wrongfully accused of anything or arrested. Definitely don't get arrested if you shouldn't be. Oh gosh. Bye.
I got your book, Double R.
Oh, you know what? I meant to tell you guys also on a totally different topic. My Bella story, my Bella Watts story part 2 is going to come out tomorrow. It's been a big project. It's going to be a kind of long video, a lot of information for those of you who are wanting to watch it. It'll be out sometime tomorrow. So everyone be safe. Take care of yourself. Have a good night. And check out the Bella Watts video tomorrow.